We are live. Minutes. Yeah, still waiting. You have enough room.
Yeah.
Just make sure. I'm here. Is he here? Are you in tonight? Okay.
I brought it just in case.
Okay.
Okay, I have 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. This is the Attica City Council 2/9 of 2026. Would the clerk please call roll?
Mayor Grant,
Present.
Mrs. Carnahan.
Present.
Mr. Moss,
Present.
Mr. Pointer,
Present.
Mr. Smith,
Present.
Mr. Roderick,
Present.
Attorney Bars,
Present.
Mayor. Oh, sorry. Junior Council, Morgan Wood,
Present.
Lillian Irwin, Grace Hiller,
Present.
Mason Dixon, Adam Gerard.
Okay. Everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from our last meeting of January 12th.
Yep.
We have a motion to accept those minutes as written.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes as written.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Thank you. Do we have any citizens petitions, questions, or concerns? Okay, none being heard at this time. Go ahead and move on to department heads. Mr. Swank.
Right now, we have one well that's offline. We're getting a new motor, pump's getting rebuilt, and we're going to have to clean the well with an acid treatment. Waiting on 2 other quotes to come in for the acid treatment before we proceed with the cleaning process of it and then reassembly. Also, the boring crews are probably going to start being active next week.
Good boy.
Yeah, so there might be some casualties in war with water lines. We also have a company in here doing water line locating and leak detection throughout the city. We've got a considerable amount of water loss throughout the city. They've isolated several areas where we've got hydrants that we may have to replace and or rebuild. But that's the latest updates that I have on that.
The boring, I assume that's for joint for the fiber.
Yes. And the gas company's right in line. They've started calling in locates as well.
Gas company will be starting out in the south end of town, and they'll be replacing all the gas mains along with the laterals going up to each house. So that's going to be quite a job for them. They were supposed to send me something, press release to put out, but they haven't sent that yet. So I may just have to make something up on my own and get it out.
Okay.
Eric, do they know maybe how much water loss percentage wise that we think we have, or do they not know?
Oh, there's a considerable amount. It's been upticking basically.
40-50%, or not that much?
Yeah, it was last time I think it was 42%.
Okay.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
considerable amount. Of course, there's been a lot of boring projects that have happened the last 3 and 4 years.
Yeah.
So we went one route, which was a free service at first to try to find leaks. And Dave and great company, it's the Alliance. We've got a contract with them. But they came down, did their due diligence, and one day, just for a real quick example, they were locating where the water leaks were at, and they said we had a major water leak that was out on North Perry by a valve box. Well, later that day, a resident called and they had water boiling up beside the street.
Sure.
By the time it was located, through the free service and where I physically dug and repaired the line, we were probably about anywhere between 11 and 1,500 feet away from where. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
came to the conclusion that that wasn't very accurate. So we went through a company that everybody is highly recommended. And they use correlators, and they can put it on a hydrant here and a hydrant there, and they can basically tell you where the leak is
Gotcha.
in the ground.
Yeah, pinpoint it.
That way we don't dig at 18 off doors trying to find the leak.
Sure.
But I don't have the full summary yet. They've got one more day, which I think they're gonna come back on Wednesday, and then I'll know for sure what direction we have.
Yeah.
So Eric, you're saying the estimate is 42% of all water that's pumped is lost.
It's lost.
It's
Correct.
lost. Now, with these, once we get this identified, what kind of cost do you think that we're going to be looking at to repair that, to get that number down?
It will all depend upon what we find, the findings. So let's just say, for instance, if it is standard 5-foot variable hydrant, and let's say the hydrant is the issue, not just the internal parts. We have some hydrants that are up to date that you can get new packaging kits and rebuild kits for. And then we have a lot of them that are extremely old. And the ones that are extremely old, those are, basically not readily available, any components for them. So those we would have to do a change out on.
Yeah.
The last hydrant that I purchased, I believe, was $5,700.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, adds up.
yeah, adds up quick.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Chief Miller.
I got real basic stuff compared to him. New cars are in the final upfit stage. Hope to have them on the road by the end of the month. Our new hire, Officer Hill, is scheduled to go to the academy in April and be done in August. So we should be full force at that point.
Very good.
Is Officer Hill the one that's been at the high school?
Yes, ma'am.
I have just heard wonderful things.
He's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I have
He
too. I've
does
heard
like
good things about
everything and plus all the other things. Like the other day, he just scoped the sidewalk and iced it just cause he saw one kid fall. And like he takes care of everyone. If like he talks to kids at lunch, he walks kids to and from class, like everything. He's
I
been
just,
great.
Good
that's
to know.
awesome.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Like I mentioned
Yes.
before, he also like stands outside to make sure like that one night he made sure everyone got back to their cars safely.
That would be something, yeah.
He does what is really great is, which this has just happened in the last but before Kyle was even gone, we have a basketball player that has had some medical problems, and just so she could go with us, he followed us to and from our game multiple nights in a row. Like we just had sectional, and he just drove and followed us in his cop car instead of going with his family, which was really great, so she could ride the bus. Because last time she rode the bus, we had some problems. So
Yeah, I've just heard really,
Very
really
good.
good things.
I have to.
Obviously, I mean, yeah, so.
Thank you.
Chief Little.
Well, after 9 very, very, very long months, the project is done.
Yay!
Hey,
So the construction company cleaned out all their stuff today. So we'll start moving trucks around and get the room that we need. So I'm pretty excited about that. Also, the last thing I have is the backup generator is now up and running. They did it today. Everything tested fine. So if something happens in town, we'll have backup power to the station. So
excellent.
Now, refresh my memory, are we gonna have 2 generators here?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Have one essentially for this end of the building and one for the fire station.
We're both on.
As ours is hooked up, but it's not tested yet. Is that right, Eric? Just
Great.
in the process of getting that one tested, and then we'll have backup for both ends.
That's awesome.
Congratulations. You worked very hard.
Yeah, it
to
looks
see
very
this
nice.
happen.
I'm just glad they're out of there.
That it?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Broadwater.
I just thought I would update the council on just the city's fiscal year end and then all the reporting that's due by the end of this month. I've said this time and time again, but the end of the year and the first 2 months of the year are just incredibly busy with all the requirements to stay in compliance with what the state board of account wants. Currently, the W-2s have been sent out. They were due out by the end of January. 1099s have been mailed. Debt management report has been submitted in Gateway. I'm in progress of doing the food and beverage report. I still have to do the fire department business entity report. And then, of course, the big one is the annual financial report. And I know I've shared that report with you, and I'll share that again with you at the next meeting once it's submitted by the end of February. But that basically is a report that's submitted to Indiana Gateway. It's available for public viewing. Anybody can go into Indiana Gateway and they can look at any financial information for any entity that gets public funds. Schools, libraries, cities, towns, I mean, any entity that receives public funds has to report it to Indiana Gateway. And it's all available for the public to look at. Part of the information that we have to upload is we have to upload, all the financials for 2025's. Beginning year ending balances, all the disbursements and receipts. We have to enter in our capital assets, our depreciation, our grants, our loans, our bonds. I mean, we have to enter in I have to enter in, upload bonds for everybody. It's on the redevelopment commission, and that has to have a bond in order to be able to do their job. So it's a very, very, very lengthy and tedious process. But anyway, we're on track to probably have that submitted within the next week and a half, hopefully prior to the end of the month. Seems like there's either an issue with Gateway or we run into complication. I've never been late getting it submitted, but I've submitted it on the last day many years in a row. So hopefully we won't be there again this year. But, if you've reached out to our office and maybe me in particular, and maybe didn't get an immediate response, I'm just overwhelmed with everything that has to be done. And Johnny, can you do me a favor? I had your tax information returned to me as undeliverable at the address we have on record. Can you do me a favor and send me an email so I have something in writing that indicates where you're living so I can put it in your personnel file?
Yeah, I just had it sent up there to the corner house, and there's a guy up there who moved out, and I guess when he moved out, he forwarded all the mail, and it just canceled everything.
Okay.
So I just haven't got to the post office. But
Just-
yeah, I'll do that.
Just
Yeah.
put something in writing for me so I can stick it in
Sure.
your file.
Will
So
do. Yeah.
that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. I see Kim's here from WEGA. Do you have any update for us for WEGA, Kim?
Yes, sorry for the mess downtown. We took a building down. I apologize, but we're moving, and so that's a good thing. I did get some pictures also of the inside of the building. So what you see on the front of the building is just so they can do the work on the inside. The floor is completely out. You can see the basement. They're working on it. They're doing great. The 105 West Mill Street, just to clear up any confusion or questions that I've seen and been asked, that building did receive a letter of condemnation before we acquired it and tore it down. So it's going to be a nice parking lot for the whole downtown when it's all finished, and they moved pretty quick on it. The other thing I wanted to let you know is we had a ready meeting on Friday, and one of the things that they're talking about for the market across the street is they said, so far this project has received a pre-commitment letter, but we do not have a contract. They told us if we have a pre-commitment letter that we can go ahead and start construction, but it's at our own risk. So we won't be doing anything until a contract is signed. And that is to the discretion of IEDC. And I'm sorry for the delay. But that's where that stands. And until we have a contract, we're not going to do anything. But we've been meeting with the engineers. We've been looking at the blueprints, coming up with some alternative plans if, certain parts of it don't go as originally planned. We have a solution for all of those things. And so we're hopeful that everything will run smoothly and we'll be able to start in the spring is our plan. So that's as long as we have a contract signed. And I've also worked with City Bus and Enterprise, and we're doing a van share so that we have transportation and workforce rides for different organizations. I do have one that we just finished up in Covington, and you guys have two in queue that are up. Hopefully you'll have two organizations that they're leasing a 7 to 12 passenger van for transportation for workforce, and it also includes nonprofits. So I'd love to get in touch with somebody from Hope Springs. I haven't been able to make contact with anybody yet, but they are the other one that I was hoping to get into that program. So hopefully Harrison's
Very good.
and Johnny's house will also have that as well, so.
Very good. Yeah,
Kim,
thank you.
I had somebody from the community reach out to me, and they were talking about Indiana landmarks, and that they were a little bit concerned about the building that came down. But you're going to have that from time to time. And but one of the other things that this person brought up was the fact that there are grants that are available. I think through Indiana Landmarks, and they're due on February 28th. Does this, the city of Attica and downtown, is there any opportunity for us that we could scramble and put together a grant by February 28th?
February 28th, I don't know, that's a squeeze. Do you have any specific building in mind? Like, I've looked at the two on the south side of the Liga building, and they definitely need to be addressed. I don't know if I can get it in by February 28th, but I can look at it. If you have some
Does it require you
But
to?
really, that needs to go through the mayor and the council
Yeah.
before we do that. And it's limited on time the way it
Yeah.
is.
I would say your time.
Well, why wouldn't I ask the question?
Well,
I'm
Why
sorry.
wouldn't you ask the mayor and let her?
She's presenting.
The
She's
mayor
Liga.
runs the meeting,
Those-
is what I'm
those-
saying.
Just to shorten things up and answer your question,
Thank
those buildings that are in question, next to the Wiga building, we have tried to get the owners to come in for 2 months now to Board of Works meeting to discuss the condition of those buildings, and they've dodged us both times. We hope to have them at the March meeting to address those, but we'll probably end up taking legal action against them if they don't show up for that one either.
I'm definitely willing to look at it and see if I don't think I can get it in by February 28th. I mean, I don't think my cape stretches that
And
far.
to be clear, what I'm trying to say is we shouldn't put her on a deadline when we haven't all agreed to
It was
what
just a
we're gonna
question.
do.
Okay.
It was
The
just a
question's
question.
fine, but
Well, no,
she's
it
gonna
isn't.
go out there and
Evidently,
try
it's
and-
not okay.
Okay, let's.
I just want to
let's
explain
move on.
myself, I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I had a question and I wanted clarity because somebody in the
Okay.
community wanted to know.
Okay.
Voter, okay? So
Well, we
that's the
know.
reason.
Okay, I think we answered your voters' question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Kim?
Not unless you have any more questions that you don't want to fight over.
There's no
I'm
fight. I mean,
glad
I
we-
just wanted to
We're
know.
not fighting, I'm just trying to keep our meetings going quick.
I'm
Yeah,
glad,
man, get home quick.
I'm
That's
glad
for
the
sure.
building's down, that's what I'll say.
Yes.
It looks much nicer down there.
Exactly.
Anytime you take a building down, there's always, for lack of a better term, pushback, and nobody wants to see a building come down. When Dwayne was mayor, we offered buildings to landmarks, and they looked at them and said, beyond repair, sorry, we're not interested. But we still caught flack from the community for tearing them down, even though they were offered to other entities. But, you can only pump so much money into an old building and come out on top, and
It's a
they
hard
felt like they
decision.
couldn't.
It's
so.
a very hard decision to make. so
It
I
is.
understand.
It's a tough one. Is there anybody here from the park board to talk tonight? I didn't see anybody, but I just want to make sure before we move on. Junior council concerns and reports.
I
Nothing?
have two.
Okay.
So I know in a few past meetings, we talked about a scholarship about us attending to the meetings or so, if you recall.
Like a stipend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know if that was considered anymore or anything.
I don't think it's been discussed anymore, to be honest with you.
No.
But I don't think it's something that we couldn't or shouldn't discuss.
Okay. And then I had another thing. I talked to Mr. Pointer a few months ago or so. It was about us getting emails, us junior council, so we also know what we're gonna be discussing at the future meetings and stuff.
I think that'd be a good idea. If I had a good
Yeah.
email address, I'd be happy to include you guys on I try to get those out a week ahead of time, the agendas, and they're a little bit flexible because things come up in that week, or somebody will email me back and say, hey, you forgot this or that needs to be added, but typically I send those out the Monday before, so if I have a really good email address for anybody that's interested, I'd be happy to include those.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Want to take a minute here to congratulate Grace Hiller and the Lady Ramblers for a sectional win. That was great. You didn't win the sectional, but you won your first game, which is a good step in the right direction. So congratulations. Okay. Moving on to unfinished business. I haven't heard any more on the annexation, haven't heard anything from the property owners. The ambulance relocation progress, I did touch base with Christy Gerald, our grant writer, and ask her what flexibility we have with the grant that we don't have that approved yet, but if we should get the grant that we applied for to build a new ambulance shed, could it be used for renovating a current building like the Duke Energy building? And she said there is a possibility. We would have to change a couple of things, but we might be able to if we owned the building, if we got that building purchased, we might be able to use some of those funds for that. So I thought that was a positive thing. It's also positive that I haven't heard from Duke yet, because no news is with them, I think, is again good news.
Right.
Pause and clause proposal, and we tabled that from the January meeting. So is there a motion to bring that from the table and discuss?
I'll make a motion. We bring it to the table and discuss.
Second?
I'll second it.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I think Mr. Smith spent a lot of time trying to work through some of these things. So, Johnny, if you've got some comments to start things out, that'd be great.
Well, there's just a lot of work, and there's a lot of things that happened prior to me being involved, and just kind of trying to sort through it and figure out what the heck was agreed to, and had a chance to work with Jessica and Tracy at Pause and Clause, and I think we're a little closer, and I think Tracy's in a position to give at least some presentation to us. And but I know that I requested an hour and was told 15 minutes, so we'll try to do what we can in that time period. And it may have to go to another council meeting, maybe the special council meeting next week. We might be able to finish it up if we get long in time here. So, because I do think there's going to be some discussion. So, but Tracy, do you want to go ahead and?
Sure. Yeah. Good evening. I thought a lot about what I wanted to say this evening, and I'm not going to take too much of your time. But I did watch the last meeting online, and I had planned on being there. I was advised not to come, but I did watch it, and I was a little, I guess, disheartened is the best word I could think of.
Excuse me, Tracy, who advised you not to come?
Councilman Smith.
Why did you advise her not to come to discuss something that had to do with her business?
We had talked, I called Garrett, and Garrett and I were not ready at the point where we could sit down and talk about it, and it would not have been worth our time to even try to discuss it. And I talked to Tracy, and I said, it's probably just in everybody's best interest to delay this 1 month.
We don't want to waste anybody's time.
I would think that if it has to do with your business, that you should probably be here. That would be my
I am
opinion.
here tonight, so if I
Okay.
can move forward, I will here.
Let's move forward.
I feel as if the purpose of our animal control has been completely derailed, and it's focused completely on stray cats. And that our performance is being judged solely on providing a service that we're not even contractually obligated to do. Neutering stray cats is a fraction of what we do at Paws and Claws. Our focus is more of the big picture, animal welfare as a whole for our community and assisting our law enforcement, which is a really important part of what we do. Based on our population size, just to give you guys an idea, the AVMA, which is the American Veterinary Medical Association, for a city average for Attica, we have about 3,000 to 4,000 animals just within the city limits that we're looking after, okay? And to focus on just 100 cats, to me, it's a little frustrating. even though we are not contractually obligated to move the cats though, and I know it's important and I know everybody's upset about it, but we have recognized that there is a problem. In the last 3 years, we have voluntarily initiated that TNR program that we talked about last time. And that's done up to 200 cats, just for Attica. That's not including outside of Attica, the county that we've done. And we've done that absolutely at no cost. It was completely free. We didn't charge the city, we didn't charge any of the residents, and people really liked it. And I think we're starting to make some progress. And this doesn't even seem to be appreciated or even recognized when you guys start talking about not seeing any results as far as what our shelter does. And again, that was a little frustrating to hear. I've done this for 15 years, and we started in a little tiny shed down on Market Street with one room, and all the dogs and cats were shoved in that one room. They had no ventilation, we had no windows, it was unsafe, it was filthy. There were maggots and bugs in the dog food. The water bowls were green with algae. I mean, it was horrible. Those animals just sat there for 10 days, and then they just disappeared. Not quite sure where they went, but they weren't there anymore. And to me, that was not acceptable standard of animal welfare. And we decided to make a change. We now have a facility and care that meets national current animal welfare standards. We've tripled in size. We have certified people and veterinarians involved. And because of this, Attica has really upped its game in animal welfare over the last 15 years. I don't think the council appreciates the need nor the service that Paws and Claws provides, nor the community support involvement that we have. We have hundreds of people in this community that has given their blood, sweat, and tears right along with us to get this place where it is today. And I think it would be a significant loss to the community, and it would set Attica back more than a decade for animal welfare standards. So this has been eye-opening for me. It's been a good exercise though. I mean, I've learned a lot. Like I said, we've grown significantly over the last 15 years, and some of our internal organization needs to be updated and restructured because we have gotten a lot bigger, and I acknowledge that. So I have devised 2 different proposals that I have in these folders here. I'll pass out here in a sec, that I brought for your review. The large part of this is updating the way we invoice to stay current. That is one thing that we do need to do better. And we do have some invoices for the city of Attica that do need to be caught up. And I've provided a copy for your review for 2025. These are for the animals that fall under that 4H section of the contract. Those animals that were taken in at the direction of law enforcement. Those are kind of separated out because they require a little bit more care and time and money. And we're hoping to hopefully get this invoice approved so we can get some payment going too to the shelter. Also, we've used national trending data, and we spent a lot of time looking this up to get an idea of what everybody else is doing too. Not only Indiana, but rural counties all over the country. And that has helped us a lot to come up with the protocols that I'm gonna try to give you guys tonight to look at. I think they're fair, and I think they accurately reflect our costs of all the things that we do. And we will also be presenting everybody else, meaning the county, Warren County, Oxford, everybody who's contacted us. And there are quite a few areas, surrounding areas outside of Fountain County that have contacted us because they don't have anything. And so we came up with a formula just to make it straight across the board, fair to everybody. It's based on population size, and it's based on the national benchmarks that I found doing the research on what shelters usually charge. So if you guys don't mind, I will give you a copy of those 2 proposals to take a look at. And I also do have an invoice from 2025 on some of those animals. These are the police ones.
Okay.
Okay. And then there's, in the folder, there's 2 of them. There's one that has a retainer and one that doesn't.
Okay,
And they're just, one for everybody.
okay, thank you.
So I don't know if you guys want to go ahead and take a look at,
Is there just one copy of the invoice?
yeah, I only
Okay.
had,
What
I'm
was
sorry, I
the
didn't have time to
bill
make more
on
than
that?
one.
Is this 2025?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
For the whole year?
Yes.
Okay,
Those are just police assisted animals. So
okay.
we're talking about animals that were considered dangerous, bite animals, those types of things. Those are separated out, and we have an invoice for those in a couple of years, and we need to get back on doing that. And I plan on getting the rest of those together for you later. I just kind of ran out of time.
Where's that invoice at?
I got it right there.
Okay, when you're done with it.
So, all year you had 4 police calls.
In 25, yeah, looks like it. Is that right? Four police
Yes.
type 10-day holds.
Now, on that verbiage, I want to make sure that everybody's clear on this topic. When we're talking about the invoiceable, that would be where we had a bite that was mandated by the state that we quarantine. That would not be calls that we might have received where an individual was arrested, or we had a bust on a house where there was animals there. That pause and calls was called out at our dispense to get those. Those would be if I'm not mistaken, those are the quarantine bite calls, correct?
These were anything that you guys were present with, so arrested or bite.
Okay.
Have we ever received an invoice like this before?
No.
Why?
Well, because we haven't been keeping up properly on the invoicing. We had some internal structure issues within the organization, specifically with our treasurer. She's been extremely ill this last year, and she just didn't get the invoices out.
So, and I'm asking because I'm asking as a
No,
person that I
that's
do not
fine.
know.
I
So,
understand.
so if on the since I've been on the council, I've never seen an invoice like this. So this is, I'm gonna go on the low number, 6 years.
2022.
I don't ever remember seeing something like this.
2022 is when we actually put it into the contract, only because we were getting stuck with all these cases and
Right.
we couldn't afford to take care of them. So
Right.
since 2022, under that section H, it does say that. We just have not actually put forth the actual invoice to the city.
So I
we
guess-
haven't.
But you also made mention, so we have this invoice. Is there more?
There's 2024, 2023, and 2022.
So you're gonna ask for back payment that we are not aware of. We've moved forward now, we're into 2026, but you're gonna be sending us invoices from 2022, 2023, 2024, and this is the 2025. So 4 years of back invoices that we're not aware of. We were not aware of.
Right.
I'd never.
I'm
seen
gonna
it.
say, I'm gonna exclude you for a second. Were you aware of any of this? Were you aware of any of this? I was not aware of any of this.
Sure.
Moving for,
And
in
like I
since
said,
22.
I know, and that's why we need to change and develop a different proposal so the invoicing is clear, everybody can follow it, it's fair, it doesn't get lost in the shuffle of papers.
Okay,
So,
then my next question, maybe this is not maybe for Tracy. I personally, I understand 100% you should not have to bear this. I also don't feel like we should, not based on you. Who is this? Judd, who should be paying for this? Is this,
Your ordinance says that the owner pays. If the owners they recover their animals, they are to pay.
So there's one animal on here that they kept for 104 days. So what if they'd have kept it for 204 days or 304 days? Are we on the hook for 304 days? Why are we on the hook for 104 days?
Yeah, and that's part of the problem, and that's why I think we need to revamp things.
Here's the, if I might, here's the contract that was signed for 2025, and Mr. Pointer and I were not a part of this, but everybody else was.
I did notice that there was a difference between the
And there's
early
one for
contract and the one
Joanne
that was
also.
signed in 2025.
So, Kaylee, just to let you know, actually, you signed the contract that said that they would be compensated for these things.
Hold on, Jody. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be compensated at all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying,
Well,
Do
you just
you-
said, you said that we shouldn't be responsible for it, but.
well,
So
no,
it
I'm not
says-
saying,
it says
time
in the
out. So I'm
contract-
gonna speak. You asked me a question. I don't think that Tracy and her group of gals should be responsible for it. Absolutely not.
Right.
Do I think that we should be responsible for it as well? No, because these are not our animals. Like they shouldn't be
I
responsible.
understand,
So
but that's
this,
not what we signed. You signed
Okay.
that said the city's responsible for it.
Johnny, do you think that it's okay to send an invoice to somebody? I'm not knocking you, Tracy. Just hear me out for a second. Do you think it's okay that in the next month or so, I would say, we're going to be receiving an invoice from 2022 that I'm not sure what number. Let's just even say it's half this. So let's say 2,000-ish dollars. Do you think that that's okay?
I do, because based on what I read in the contracts that y'all signed, it looks like we're obligated as a city.
Johnny, that's not,
And,
I have
there's-
never received, okay,
there's
hold on.
another one. Well, here,
Thank
I'll
you. I
pass it
don't
down.
need to see it. That's absolutely fine. I think Judd needs to look at it, first of all, because he's my lawyer here. That's number one. But
Well, no,
my
wait a
thing-
minute. A common misconception, if I might. Judd is here as a resource and a guide. Judd is not here as a determinant, okay? He is not the one that approves these contracts. The council members are the ones that approve the contracts. And so we're on the hook to read these things and understand that when we approve these, we're approving them for the voters. Judd has nothing to do with it. He is here as a resource or a guide. He is not here as a determinant.
Johnny,
But
thank
we
you
will
so
use
much.
that
But I'm still going to
resource.
ask my resource, who
Yeah,
does know the
go
law.
ahead
I
and use the
don't know.
resource, but again.
But you're not
the
my
reason-
lawyer. You're not this person's
I
lawyer.
know, but
So-
you have a misconception on how this works, okay?
No, I
Because-
don't. I don't.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
done.
okay,
That's
okay.
Judd is my person I'm going to ask,
Okay,
period.
All right, go ahead, ask him.
So I'm looking at the 2025 contract.
Okay.
And I'm looking at paragraph H. And if the animal was required to be quarantined as required by law, in the opinion of animal control, a county law enforcement officer, and a member of the Fountain Warren County Health Department. So it took 3 people to agree. They didn't say or. And the animal was detained, and except any animal detained as a dangerous animal, which our ordinance provides for a court case to determine that. That's a judicial determination of a dangerous animal. Then the actual costs incurred for housing the animals are your obligation. So I don't know anything about judicial determinations I haven't been present for any of those hearings, and I don't cover those typically. That would be Mallory Redland. But 3 people needed to agree. It needed to be required by state law. If it was a dangerous animal, it required a judicial determination. And if all of those hit for the animals, either quarantined or dangerous, then actual costs.
Yeah, and I think these have been weeded out. I think the invoices have been weeded out to reflect that.
Yeah, because I don't think I agree.
Because there were 101 animals, I believe. Tracy, you guys had 101 animals. 106 animals that they took in. And out of that, there was just a small fraction that actually were police action animals that would fall under this category.
Yeah, and I don't think that you should have to pay that or take on that cost. I don't.
So
at
I go
all.
back to my question though. Why am I being billed for an animal that was kept for 100 and some days? Would it have been any different if it had been 200 days or 300 days?
No,
I
and
mean,
that's why we.
This
would
can't
like
be
to-
open-ended.
Right, and that's why we'd like to change it. That's why we'd like to change it. And in the new proposal, what we've proposed, if you guys choose to participate in the retainer, and we can go over that too, the first 10 days would be required. And then after that 10 days, if a judge says, okay, you can take the animal, it's now yours, we will then resume responsibility for that animal. And that would be something that would be specific, because it's kind of gray here.
Yeah.
So we want to tighten it up. And so it does say that in the future, causal clause will take over that. And if we decide that the animal needs to be euthanized, then we'll euthanize it if we think it's too dangerous. Or if a judge says, nope, it's too dangerous, it's gotta go, then we will do that.
So, I'm
That makes more sense.
I'm looking at the invoice, again, it's, I know it says on here like euthanized / disposal. So on the first two that were only there for 8 days, did they have to be euthanized then?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the third one, I know that they were there for longer.
Yeah.
Okay, but on, the one that was, sorry, the third one wasn't one, I'm sorry. The fourth one that had to be, did they have to also be euthanized then, that last one?
She, we got her in and she had a bunch of puppies, like the second day.
Okay.
So we kept her alive. I know that doesn't sound very nice, but we kept her alive. The staff was very careful because she was very aggressive. Got the puppies weaned. As soon as that was done, we euthanized her.
Okay.
And those puppies were fine. We were able to, they grew up at the shelter, and they got adopted out and everything was okay. But yeah, we weren't expecting to have her have
right.
babies, but that's why she was
That
there
makes,
for so
that,
long.
again,
That
that
makes
makes sense.
sense.
Yep, that makes sense.
Well, I think, for me personally, the only thing that bothers me is going that far back, because we've been through 3 budgets, or 4 budgets since then, and how much back pays are gonna be, because that's not in our budget for this year. I guess that's the only thing, is it gonna be that much? And then we're also gonna pay a contract.
Maybe compromise something too, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm just
Yeah.
putting that out there, because I don't know how much it's gonna be.
We're open to that.
Yeah, okay.
You know, we're open to that. If you guys don't mind, I would kind of like to, just explain real briefly about the 2 different options. And maybe that might shed a little bit more light on, the future and where we want to go with this, if this doesn't happen again. What we have decided is, every area, so this would be any incorporated town or any county, you can opt to do a retainer, okay? And that is just the base, like we were doing before, it's just a quarterly payment that you paid it to have us have our services. And in that retainer, what that's gonna be for Attica, because we use that formula I was talking about, for nationwide stuff, it's about an average of $10,000 per 1,000 residents. Okay, that's about the national average. So if you do Attica, we got 3,200 people, it's $32,000, which is actually less than what we're charging you right now. And under that, that includes all the routine animal control stuff. 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, there's a dog running in the IGA parking lot or county market parking lot, we gotta go get it. Those types of things. Cops aren't involved, it's just us. Those are fully covered, okay? Owner surrendered animals. If we have somebody who needs to unfortunately surrender their pet, and if we have space, that's at no cost to Attica either, but we will ask the owner to pay something to surrender that animal to help cover the cost for adoption and things like that, and then put it up for adoption. Also include the 5-day quarantine hold and basic medical care. So we pick up all these stray dogs, a lot of them are really sick, and they look rough, and a lot of times they bring disease with them. So that first 5 days that we keep those animals there, we keep them what we call quarantined. So we keep the rest of our animals in the shelter kind of protected. So after that 5 days, and usually most viruses and stuff like that will pop up within 5 days, and we'll know if they're going to be, like parvo's a big one. Parvo's a huge problem because it's so contagious. And we've had multiple parvo cases that because of our quarantine system, we've been able to quarantine it and it hasn't given the rest of the animals the virus. So we hold them for 5 days, make sure they're okay, provide basic medical care on that 5 days, just to keep them comfortable. Like if it's a hit by car, we want to give them some pain meds. We observe them, and then if there is no court hold on them, or if they're not, terminally ill and they're really sick or whatever, if we feel like they're ready for adoption, after that 5 days, we put them up for adoption. And we get them all set up, ready to go. Okay. So if it's not okay, and if the owner doesn't reclaim it, that's that 5-day hold, then we do all that. We get them spayed, neutered, vaccinated, get them out the door, and get them into a new home. The part we're going to separate out from all this is the police assisted animals, because those are special circumstances. Again, we have owners involved that should be held accountable for their animals, right? Not me, not you guys, the owners. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to change that to where, I mean, most of these calls are usually after hours too, like in the middle of the night, they call us, you know, they pull somebody over and they arrest them and they've got 2 dogs in the backseat of the car. Well, what the heck are they gonna do with the 2 dogs in the backseat of the car? They call us and we get them. So we take them back. So we are gonna charge the runs that we do that on an individual basis. So if we don't have any runs for the month of February that are police related, you don't get charged anything. If we do, then we charge you per run. And then we're gonna charge an animal intake care fee. For dogs is about $3.50 and for cats is about $1.50. And again, looking at the national averages, you're looking at anywhere from, and we sit on the low end, anywhere from like $300 to $1,000 an animal is how much it costs for a shelter to bring an animal in, get it healthy, and then give it time to get adopted out to walk out that door. Okay, so it's pretty variable. So we went with the $3.50 because most of those animals we can get out the door within 30 days. Sometimes we have them stay longer, unfortunately, but most of them we can get out within 30 days. She's pretty good about keeping them moving. And again, we have to hold them for 5 days just to let somebody come forward to claim them. You know, if the owner's arrested and then he gets out of jail and wants to come get his dog the next day, okay, fine, and then he can pay to get that dog out of there. The problem is 90% of these people don't come back. They're like, forget it, I'm not gonna pay it, I'm just gonna leave the dog. So then we're stuck with the dog, right? And that's where we get into the real money there because, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do with this dog? So what we thought was after that 5 days, even with these animals here, if we deem it adoptable, we will incur the cost of getting them ready to go in adoption. You're literally just gonna transfer them over to us. So they will be our responsibility, okay? And we will take on that responsibility to get them all fixed up to go. The only caveat to that is the court-held animals. So, and this happens every once in a while, but not very much. Like there is something to where there's an animal being held and it's caught up in some legal whatever, and we're not allowed to do anything. We can't touch it. We can't euthanize it. We can't adopt it. It's just in this, you know, waiting for a trial or whatever. Those are the ones that we also need to be charging someone for to get those animals paid for as far as their cost of living is at the shelter. And that's running around $25 a day. And again, look at the national averages. It's anywhere from like $25 to $50 a day, depending on where you're at in the country. You know, we're more rural, so we put it, you know, more of a $25 range. So, and again, we're hoping that the owner will be responsible for that. The only other caveat to that one is these really aggressive dogs that are very dangerous. We have to have specific areas in the shelter for those dogs because nobody can get in there and handle them, and they're dangerous and they can really hurt somebody. So those dogs take a lot more, I don't want to say work, but we got to be really careful with them. So those are more expensive. Those are going to be $65 a day. We can't get in there with them, so they have to have an indoor-outdoor thing so they can food, we can come in and eat and all that, and then we have to be able to get in there to more than likely euthanize them. And then that takes drugs to sedate them and on and on and on. Anyway, I won't explain that, but so we as a shelter need to be compensated for those services as they occur. So we will be billing the city of Attica for that. And we will be providing documentation of all of it. Okay, when it came in, how it came in, who it came under, what money we spent on it, it'll all be printed out. We will send it to you. And the goal is for you guys then, because you have the resources to go after these folks where we don't, okay? You guys have a lawyer sitting right here. You know, you guys can put liens on property, you can garnish wages, you can do whatever you need to do to get that money back.
Judd looks pretty fired up.
Let's say, that's not gonna be free.
Yeah, we can't go after people for invoices for 4 years ago.
No,
Well,
I'm
that's,
talking from here forward.
but that's a part of the
Here
fact that
forward.
you guys signed the contract the way you did.
I'm aware.
I'm talking about this going forward.
Well,
I'm
speaking
letting
of
you-
signing the contract the way we did, I sit here and I look at this and I guess, and Judd pointed this out, but it says that animals that are quarantined as required by the law, a county law enforcement officer and a member of the Fountain County Health Department. And they use that word "and" several times. And I'm not a lawyer, Johnny, but anytime it says "and," it takes two people to sign off on that. So my question to you is, do you have an officer that brought this dog in, that signed it in, and somebody from the county health department that said it had to be quarantined?
No,
And do you have a paper trail to show that?
when we wrote this, we needed 2 of the 3. So we needed the officer and the animal control person, or
I'm just reading the contract.
I am too, and
and-
that's what it says. So I need 2 out of the 3, and I had 2 out of the 3. And yes, I do have a paper trail.
For dangerous animals.
For dangerous
For
animals.
dangerous
correct.
animals.
That's correct.
Requires all three.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, but a lot of times the health department was not available in the process.
I don't care whether they were or not. The question is that you're hung up on H in the contract. And I've heard this several times now tonight, and it keeps coming up, but it doesn't say unless they're not available.
I'm not hung up on anything.
It
Larry.
says,
I'm sorry, I'm not hung
and
up on anything.
as a member of the Fountain County Health Department. So my question again is, did somebody from the Fountain County Health Department sign off and say this dog had to be quarantined? And that's probably no. And honestly, I get a little bit upset because this sounds like a threat to me. You either sign the contract or we're going to come back on you for all this money that you owe us for these
A
dogs.
threat? How do you get a threat out of that? I'm sorry.
I
I
well,
don't understand it.
from your mouth.
Where's the
You
threat?
personally told me that they might let that go if we sign a new contract with them. But if we don't sign a new contract with them, they're going to come back on this for X amount of dollars.
Larry, I
And
never
I
said
think
that.
out of
and
your
you're
mouth was,
paraphrasing that, and
I
that's
think
not
out of your
depicting the
mouth,
situation
you mentioned
correctly.
$250,000 to me. And
I
that sounds
told
like
you
a
that-
threat or extortion to me.
Extortion. How do you get? Okay, all right. Now we got. Okay, now we're going to talk because I'm going to tell you something. I
Tell me
brought it
something,
to your
sir.
attention that there is a big problem with the contracts that you all signed. Okay, and that it could potentially, if she decides that she's
Okay.
going to bill at $100 a day,
And
it could be that much. And all I was doing was just giving you a courtesy heads up
and I
on what you
appreciate that.
signed. Okay,
But it's-
that's it.
that
That's
sound- It sounds like a threat to
How do
me.
you? How? You know it
You
is
either
no
si-
threat. You signed it. You're trying to turn this. You signed it. You signed 2 contracts,
Absolutely.
and
We
it
said
doesn't
we
look
did,
like
and
you know what
I
you're
do
talking
stand by
about.
those contracts
And
because
I'm reading
that's
you
what we
the
talked
contract
about. I mean,
language here, and the
And there are 2
contract language.
contracts. There are 2 contracts there. You signed 2 contracts, and as a matter of fact, we've got the minutes here that shows who all was a part of that. Now,
I'm not denying that I wasn't here.
okay, then
I'm just,
and as
all
a
I'm
matter of
saying
fact, let's
is,
go a little bit further on this. There was a council member that sat on the board of directors out there at Paws and Claws and allowed all of this to take place. Now, you would think that that person would have been delivering to the council here this data, okay, on the board of directors. So I don't know what you're talking about. Extortion. That's crazy that you even bring that word up.
and maybe that's not a good word.
No,
but
it's not.
My point is that either you what I'm getting here is either you sign a new contract and hand them $35,000 as they're asking, or they're going to come back and they're going to bill us.
They
for-
never said that. They never said that.
That
I
was-
don't know where you're getting it. All I did was,
Okay.
Larry, it was a courtesy conversation with you that I told you that we've got an issue here that was created in the past and it needs to be dealt with. There was no extortion.
Okay.
She's not extorting
All right,
anybody.
gentlemen.
Okay.
Gentlemen, I do have a quick question. You said that 2 of the 3 agents need to sign. Where does it say that in this contract?
Go to section H.
Only in one of the contracts it says that.
Well, you were talking about 25. and
Yeah,
that's the one
25,
I'm
but we have
talking about.
2024 here too.
Okay. Let's see what the sentence is.
I don't think 2025
By
has
law,
it.
an opinion of animal control officer, county law enforcement officer, member of Fountain, Warren County Health Department, and accepting, okay. At the direction of the majority of the animal control officer, county law enforcement, and Warren County Health Department. So the majority of those 3 people, and that was purposely put in there because we wanted to make sure we had backup to say, okay, yeah, take it. But we also knew it probably wasn't very practical to get the health department involved every single time, because that's gonna take way too much time.
That
So
would be difficult.
if the officer was there and the animal control officer was there, that was what we anticipated. We threw the health department in there just in case there was an extenuating circumstance, who knows, just to have somebody else in there. That's why that was written that way.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tracy.
Seems like we have a lot to consider here.
Now there is, I mean, if you guys don't wanna do the retainer, it's okay. You certainly don't have to. That's why there's another option in there. If you just wanna kind of go à la carte and do per animal, we can do that, because it's gonna cost more money per animal. And your typical routine animal control calls, you know, like the stray dog running at large, that's not gonna be included. It's just gonna be for those police animals, so we can still assist law enforcement, because I know that's very important, that we're there to take those animals, because they have no other place to go.
May I ask a question?
So-
Jeff, you had said something about.
Please state your name.
Please state your name.
Sorry. Kelly Carlson. You said something about judicial review. Could you explain what judicial review would be?
So there are two parts of that paragraph H. One has to do with quarantined animals, and one has to do with dangerous animals. And the quarantining takes all three to agree, and the dangerous animals takes two of the three to agree. In our code for dangerous animals, in section,
This is city code, right?
yes.
Okay.
Section 6-71, determination hearing before Attica City Court. A determination hearing shall be held by the judge of the Attica City Court to determine whether there is cause to believe an animal is a dangerous animal as defined in section 6-50. Such hearing shall be conducted within 5 days of serving notice to the owner by certified mail or personal delivery. During the outcome of such a hearing, the animal must be secured and confined in a humane manner, either on the premises of the owner or with a licensed veterinarian. The judge of the Attica City Court shall determine whether to declare an animal to be, quote, dangerous based on the evidence and testimony presented at the time of the hearing by the owner, witnesses to any incidents which may be considered germane, health department personnel, animal control personnel, police, or any other person possessing information pertinent to such determination. The hearing shall be informally conducted and technical rules of evidence shall not apply, except that the judge of the Attica City Court shall have discretion to exclude irrelevant and unduly repetitious evidence. And then it says, the judge of the city court shall issue written findings within 5 days after the hearing. The owner or possessor of the animal found to be dangerous by such hearing shall have the right to appeal the decision within 10 days to the Fountain Circuit Court. It talks about evidence you can consider, like history of biting and extent of injuries and place of the attack and presence or absence of provocation. It factors.
Now, Judd, that's in the 2022 to 2024 contract, correct?
He's reading city code.
Yeah, but that, it's referenced in the first contract. That's not referenced in the second contract.
The second contract says dangerous animal,
Mhm.
and that's a legal determination.
By the 2 out of the 3.
So what I prefaced all of this was our city ordinance for dangerous animals requires this procedure that I was just reading. It doesn't matter what your contract says. It doesn't excuse you from using the determination hearing. It doesn't say in lieu of the hearing. You needed, if you wanted to do that, you would change your ordinance, not your contract, but that's the determination hearing. It's just for dangerous animals. It's not for quarantines.
So really, this contract wasn't really, really thought all the way through the way probably it needed to be with, probably some more data that needed, or details that needed to be a part of this.
That's not my determination, I don't, when I read this contract, first of all, an important thing about contracts is if they're ambiguous, they're construed against the party that drafted them.
Mhm.
That's fundamental contract law, contract litigation 101. This is ambiguous, which means if there's any jump balls, city wins, in my opinion.
Okay.
I litigate that, and I use that in contract litigation, and I win on that.
Well, hopefully it doesn't have to come to that. I mean, obviously.
I'm not suggesting it should. Yeah, this needs to be mediated is what it needs to be. I mean, that's how this gets resolved, in my opinion.
Right.
But,
Because we want pause and clause to be successful.
I agree. I think the other thing is like, I'm going to go back to you said a jump ball thing. I think another big thing in this, which I'm feeling this way, again, I'm going to say this is my opinion. I feel like, I'm going to take you guys out for a second. There are 5 of us right here, and we need to be on a team.
I agree.
And
I agree with
now,
that.
I don't feel on anything that we're doing that we are being a team. And that
That's
might seem
exactly
like
right.
you want to be like, well, whatever, she's being dumb. I don't care anymore because I will tell you, it's not fun doing this on every single thing that we do.
I agree.
And all I'm saying is if we need something, whether it be pause and clause or parking down on the 200 block, or I don't really care what else, we need to stop fighting each other and we need to start working together.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah, either.
So however that looks, and I will also say this, sometimes whatever I might want might not be what you four want, and that's okay. We all have the same vote here. We all have, my vote is equals to Dwayne's, is equals to Jimmy's, Johnny's, and Nate's. So I'm just saying, we need to be a team as we move forward on this and other things that are coming up. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, very good.
Kelly.
Sorry, Kelly's.
Got another
Sorry,
question
Kelly.
now. Kelly?
So on the list that she has presented to you for the last 4 years, how many of those have gone through the judicial review process?
she just provided 2025, Kelly.
Okay.
They're gonna provide 24, 23, and 24.
I don't know. I don't know if I know that answer. Would you happen to know
So
that?
we often go through the system and we will rely on Judge Mason and Mallory to come down and present evidence. Pause and clause will come as a witness as well as myself or the officer that was working the case. Give evidence of what happened in the case that would make this dog aggressive or dangerous. Pause and clause will give their testimony on how the dog acted during the 10-day quarantine. That'll go through our court hearing. Oftentimes it doesn't go to there. Oftentimes when we take that, we write the ordinance for that. The owner's not willing to overcome the expenses of what's going on.
Mhm.
So they relinquish custody of the animal to the city of Attica. And then it's determined through the city in pause and clause because it's been relinquished to us. If it's an adoptable animal, we try to work with pause and clause to get the animal adopted out. If it's a dangerous animal and it has a history of biting and, we lifeline somebody because of this animal, we make the ruling to euthanize it. But most of the time, these owners know that these animals are dangerous and vicious. Once it gets to the point that we're going to court on it, they relinquish custody of the animal.
And that's why almost all of them were euthanized.
Yeah.
That-
And I'm going to say 95% of them happen in that manner.
But they're still responsible for the cost while the animal was there. Just because you relinquish it doesn't get you off the hook for paying the cost. Why should the city of Attica have, and maybe that's a question for a judge, but why should the city of Attica be responsible for paying for that animal if all you got to do is say, I just don't want it anymore, thanks anyway, and walk away?
So oftentimes, what we see is probably more frequently than not is dogs biting family members or owners. We see more dogs bite owners and send them to medical care probably than anything. So once that happens, there's no criminal case to be associated with it. Your suspect is also the victim. Who are you gonna charge here?
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, once that happens with the animal, they automatically relinquish it. When we go into quarantine, it's because that animal, is state mandated that that animal's in a 10-day quarantine. Well, we can't leave him in the house where he just bit
But
the owner.
the owner is still responsible for that dog. I don't care whether he bit the owner or whether he bit the neighbor. He's still responsible for that animal, right? So maybe we're not gonna litigate this tonight.
I don't know how
You see my point. If I own a vicious dog and he bites me, why is it on the city to pay for that dog's quarantine time when it's my dog?
Yeah, and we agree with that too. We're just trying to find a way somehow for somebody to get compensated for it, because somebody's gotta pay for it, right?
Right,
We gotta
right,
pay for
right.
it, they gotta pay for it, the city's gotta pay for it. So we're trying to come up with a system that, would be fair.
I get that.
And that's why we thought, well, if we could get reimbursed, when we provide those services, because that's when it's costing us money, then we can go after the owner for whatever legal means necessary that are available to the city, and try to get that money back.
We've had a conversation with Dan Askren, who's the prosecuting attorney, and Dan said that if he had been made aware of these court cases, that they could have incorporated the settlement and the payment to the criminals, the people that are causing these problems. It would have been incorporated, and they could have been charged for this. But that mechanism was never built into these two agreements. It's missing, and that's where we've
That
spent a
needs
lot
to
of
be
time.
there.
Yeah, and that's a big part of what we've worked on. The other thing too, I want to say that Tracy really did a good job of coming up with a way to make sense of the contract, the retainer contract. I felt like at $38,000, $35,000, whatever it was, it made no sense whatsoever. And so she went out and she found where there's other people that have come up with the $1,000 to 100 in population. And that's how she came up with the $32,000. It's less of a retainer than what we've been paying, but it sure heck made a lot more sense. And then if eventually the city of Attica actually signs off on this proposal, a lot of work still needs to be done, but then that would allow the county to then roll up our numbers, the city of Attica numbers, to the county level, and there's 17,000 people at the county level. And then at that particular point in time, and y'all know now what your budget is for a retainer, if you take on the whole county with pause and clause, it's 170,000. And so then that would allow Petersburg and Covington and everybody else to get the same charge that the city of Attica is, because Kaylee had a real problem with the fact that we were not being treated fairly. And Tracy evaluated that and came up with a new program. It's my understanding that you have repealed or you're canceling all the contracts that you have in the county, and you're starting over with all of them that mimic what Attica has. So it's going to be across the board.
It is, I think that's gonna simplify things, it's gonna make things fair. And I know that in 2027, looking ahead, I've been asked, hey, why can't we just have this all under one contract under the county? And I'm fine talking about that. It's just, there's gotta be a lot of work for that to get done. And we can't do that right now.
Well,
So
but you're doing the
that's why we're
base, you're doing the
talking
base work for it right now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're out of time for this year. We just need to get something set so we can take care of things, because it's gonna happen, stuff's gonna start coming up.
Yeah, and also you have, there was an invoice that was submitted for January, and that invoice under January was under the old contract that was a higher number.
Yeah.
And we had talked about this, that it would only be fair that that invoice would be credited back if the retainer was accepted at what you're proposing, that money would be credited back to the city of Attica, where it can be applied elsewhere.
Right.
So I think that's something.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that's right. And then going forward, we need to separate out these other dogs, dogs in particular. I don't think we've ever had an aggressive cat. We get them, but I don't think there's ever been any that have been caught up in a legal issue. But yeah, we wanted to come up with a way to make it fair to everybody, to try to get who's actually responsible to pay for it, which I agree, it's the owner. They're the ones that need to be responsible for these things. I agree. And we are wanting to help by providing all that documentation to make it easy to be able to hopefully reclaim some of that money for the city. But we can't float that money. We can't. We don't have the resources to do that. We just don't. And that's where it becomes a problem.
I appreciate you getting the stats together. That's all I've ever asked for is just numbers, so we kind of know where we're at compared to everything else. That helped me a lot.
Tim Kemple has something.
Yeah, my question is to the council, and also to Paul's clause. What is the number of the animals that you guys just presented an invoice? How many animals, how many dogs, how many cats from the city of Attica is included in that bill?
Sorry, it was 4 dogs, it looked like.
4 dogs.
4 out of 106. 4 dogs
Okay.
out of 106 animals.
So
And the bill's like
I guess my question is,
4,400 or 40,
for 2025, I mean, what did the city pay Paul's and Paul's?
30.
35,000.
35,000. And I'm not against Paul's and Paul's. I'm an animal person, okay? But my question is, for $35,000, how many animals from Attica was taken care of?
How many?
How many dogs, how many cats? We know there's only 4 dog bites.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the rest of it, what other services was rendered and how many animals from Attica?
106.
106.
Yes, 106.
And no matter how I say that, it's gonna come out bad, and I don't mean it to be bad. I look at it, we're paying $35,000 for 106 animals,
And that's fairly average for the nation. Yeah.
and
It's expensive.
the county paid that, and I'm not saying there's not a need there, but what I'm saying is, that's a lot of money.
It is, yeah.
And a lot of it is people's personal responsibility, and I don't feel that the city should have to pay for people's personal responsibility.
And we agree with you.
And when I say that, I looked around surrounding counties. I'm gonna look at Clinton County, prime example. Clinton County pays, their county government pays their Humane Society $10,000 a year for all their animals, for everything. They get $10,000. They don't get a contract at this town, at Frankfurt, nothing. It's all 10,000. That's it. And I pulled up their figures. I mean, you're talking a whole Clinton County. They brought in 324 cats, 318 dogs. And then they've got outcomes. They post numbers every month. And I'm gonna say this in defense of the council. I know for the last 4 years, when Dwayne was mayor, they asked for the numbers and nobody ever brought the numbers.
What numbers are you talking about? 'Cause we,
I've always asked for the numbers of Attica animals
we
and
have done
cats and
that.
it, but nobody would ever bring them to the
No,
meetings, and we
But
did.
we have, I mean, we have the last several years. I just don't know if anybody's actually looked, because I know that we sent them and you guys were emailed.
I
all
think
the
I was out of
information
commission last
on
year
the
when
24th of
they
November
did
of
the
last year.
contract.
And
Yeah.
I'm not here to be Chip, I'm trying to say, this is what a lot of people look at. Okay, we're paying this money, but what are we getting for? $35,000 for 104 animals for the city of Attica?
Tim, the animal control insurance alone for the animal control, I think it's like 14,000, right?
I understand that.
Just that alone. So
I
I would
understand
question how Clinton County can do it for 10,000.
Yeah, we're missing part of the puzzle.
Yeah,
there.
we're
Well,
missing
I'll
a
tell
whole
you
bunch of
something else. Carroll County,
Tracy, I stand corrected. I do remember you used to give us the numbers. That helped a lot. I mean,
Yes.
but we didn't have it the last couple of years.
But-
I'm sure I didn't see them anyway.
Carroll County, they have a non-for-profit, it's Erica's Rescues and Humane Society.
Mhm.
She does that up there. She doesn't charge the county. She doesn't charge any of the communities. And she provides the same service you guys are providing. Benton County, they rely on Almost Home Humane Society in Lafayette, Tiffany County Animal Control.
I
But
just don't
let
see
me
how they
finish
can do
here.
it.
They don't have a contract with anybody. They don't have a contract with anybody.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because Benton County's been calling us. They want a contract with us, and we
Okay.
actually have.
But here's my point is,
And their
other people are using the service, and who's absorbing that cost? Fountain County as a whole, and also the city of Attica. Because if your cost is going up, that's part of that you're not recuperating from other people. And I don't think it's fair for Attica to absorb that cost.
I think we're saying the same thing.
Well,
We're just saying it.
you
in
sign a
a
contract and
way.
then you're coming back and issuing an invoice?
It was a part of the contract though. That was a part of that's police control. There's animal shelter and there's animal control.
I understand the
Okay?
difference.
And they're providing both.
Okay, so if they're providing the both, it takes 5 years to send an invoice, that's bad business. That's
But
bad
that's why
business.
we need to restructure and we need to make it clear and not so messy, and that's why we put together this proposal, because I agree with you.
Tracy, I've got a sheet here you guys sent me, animal control numbers as of November 11th, 2025. So it's kind of toward the end of
That's
the
it.
year.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's it.
But it mentions strays, 23 dogs, surrender 6, season quarantine 11. That's nowhere near 106.
Well, if you add them all up, it is.
Was it 106 animals altogether, cats and dogs?
That's gonna be
Yes.
cats and dogs.
Okay, okay,
Because that,
Yes, it's all the animals
okay,
together.
that makes more sense if you're looking at cats and dogs. Okay.
That's everybody. That's everybody.
So it's not 106 dogs, it's 106 cats and dogs.
How many cats were there?
There were.
On this sheet, it says 30 were cats, 23 were dogs.
Out of the strays.
Of the
Out of the
strays.
strays.
Out of the strays. We broke it down. So you have your strays, we had, and this was only through November, so we had 2 more months. So that's why
Anybody
It's a
wanna
little
look
off,
at that?
but-
Can.
Well, and I guess I was thinking there'd be more cats, but that's because you do pick up strays, but you don't pick up cats.
Nope.
So there would be a lot more
there could
cats.
be. Yeah,
I know
and
where
that's
it's
what we put
fine.
TNR.
Right?
Yeah. So we have 53 that were strays, 30 were cats, 23 were dogs. The surrenders, almost 10 were cats, 6 were dogs. Cease quarantine, we had 11. All of those were dogs. Born at the shelter, we had 26 that were born at the shelter because things were pregnant when they came in. So if you add all that up and then you take it to the end of December, which you didn't get that because I sent it in
Right.
November, it was 106.
You say Benton County is interested in contract, what are they interested in?
They are interested in doing the second half of what I sent you guys, the non-retainer option, where they're paying per animal. And it is, we get about $600 an animal
Thank
once it's done, or more.
So they're not paying you a lump sum, it's gonna be if they have 4 animals from law enforcement, they're gonna pay X amount of dollars.
That's right. So we're not gonna be able to, we're not picking up any of their animals at large that people are calling about that are running around town. We're not doing that with them. We're just doing the police animals.
So let me ask you this, in the county, if I live out in the country, I don't live within the city limits of Attica, and there's a dog out there, and I call you guys, you won't come pick up that dog?
That goes to the county. That would go to the county contract, so we have to look at what we have contracted with the county. And we're gonna offer them the same thing that we have offered you guys tonight, based on the population, minus these incorporated towns.
I guess my question to everybody is, if we throw this out there, I appreciate everything you're saying, but what are other counties doing and other municipalities on this? Because I looked at the surrounding counties around us
We went over a few.
and not seen.
Yeah, we did.
We haven't even talked about TNR yet.
Yeah, we get something else.
Can we get back on the contract here? Our contract, let's get back on our contract.
Okay.
Do we want to talk about the TNR? I've got data here real quick I can read off in 3 minutes. If you want to talk about it, if you don't want to talk about it, we can move this whole thing to the next meeting, the special council meeting where we might have a little bit more time and let people think about things. What do you guys want to do? I don't
think we
care.
ought to table it,
Okay.
kind of see what we got, go
Okay.
from there.
I'll make a motion that we table it.
Just a
I'm
minute,
sorry,
Charlie.
wait.
Somebody with their hand up out there.
I just got a question.
But name, please.
Name.
I'm sorry, Cindy Mason. Have you considered other funding sources, and do other counties use like foundations to go to in funding sources? And what's the possibility of small claim court? That's where the owner would be responsible
Yes,
for,
and that's what we're trying to say, yeah.
is take them to small claims courts, which is different than city courts. small claims court is in Fountain County, and that's where people,
I don't think we have an invoice that.
or
everybody's
individuals
paying
can
right now,
sue
so I think
basically
take a
because
look
their
at it.
services have not been paid for.
I think that's, yeah, spot on.
Nate, are you okay?
And
Just
that
based on
might be
everything
due
till
to
for
other
1 week?
revenues.
At least.
They-
It still doesn't solve
Well,
the.
The problem that we're running into right now, guys, on the time is that we need money to pay our people
What do you mean, Larry?
Well, if
And
the
our
county ends up
and our
with a
bills.
contract as well, then we're paying twice again.
I agree.
We're
sectioning us out of it.
Wait,
Table
what,
it for
how,
another month?
I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there. It's a question that keeps coming back.
Would you section us out of the county contract?
well, but in that particular case though, the county would be
Yeah.
dealing with the rural area, right?
You and I are paying county
Yeah, we got to
taxes,
say, yeah, we still pay, you're right,
Yeah.
I got you.
so why should I pay for somebody that lives in Newtown's dog?
I agree.
Unless there could be a percentage. What would be the percentage that could be applied
Right,
to?
you could take the 3,000 out of the
Yeah.
3,200 out of this, would you say 17 something? Of the
Yeah.
county?
Yeah, I guess, yeah,
You
17,000,
could,
yeah.
you could let them pay that. and-
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it needs to go to the county. I think this whole thing just goes right up there, one contract and done with
You
it.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do too, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Can I say one
I'm
more
sorry,
thing?
Tracy,
No,
we're
that's-
having a
that's
discussion
okay.
amongst
No, I
ourselves
just
up
wanted to
here.
say one more thing. I mean, we need to get some income coming in to continue the service, I guess is what I need to
Yeah.
say. So this is something, we've been floating it here for about 2 months, and we're gonna be about done being able to float. And we've been able to
get
go
it.
ahead, and we've taken in animals, even though we don't have a signed contract with you guys, we've been taking in animals anyway, okay? And we've been paying for those animals. We took in 3 today. So we kind of need something here.
These
I was
were
hoping to
these
walk out.
police animals that you took in?
Yeah, I mean, because we gotta pay these people to do these jobs.
Tracy, could we do the, I know we haven't even talked about the TNR, but the TNR is a little bit easy. I think we've got $5,000 set aside for that. You said that you would do 72 cats for $5,000?
I mean, if you do the math, yeah, I mean, and that's what we've done. We've done TNR March through November, and we have 1 day a week, and we take 4 animals each time. And what we would like to do is allot 2 of those spaces to be for Attica.
Could we,
And then if you do the math, it could be 72 cats, yes.
so could you whip up a one-page contract and that would say that you would do 72 cats within that certain period of time and give it to us for $5,000? I mean, at least we
Well-
could try to get some money flowing for them. I don't know.
I don't,
That was
What
gonna
about-
be, well, we were gonna offer that to everyone.
Larry, what
Oh.
about
Because
the one that?
I'm only one person.
Oh, okay, I was just
Doing
trying to
all
get some
those
money
surgeries.
flowing.
We were only
What
gonna
about
offer
maybe the
that
last
to people
invoice
who
of the table?
did the retainer.
Oh, I see, it's a part of the retainer.
Because,
Oh,
yeah, we can only do
okay.
so many, so I thought, well, we'll give preferential treatment to people who have the
Okay.
retainer and pay for our services on a regular thing. So if you don't have the retainer,
okay.
that's asking a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that, yeah, I don't know,
Anything we
Larry.
can improve?
No, that's what Larry's looking at the one, I don't know. The one that
I've
we
got
take
it
out.
right here, $2,900.
Yeah, I mean, that. would
Is
help?
that February's?
Yeah,
Would that maybe
But the
help?
only thing with that is that if we do sign that 32,000 contract that they're proposed, that we eventually get to, then I would want a rebate on that.
on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tracy, just so you know, the conversation that we were having up here amongst ourselves was the fact that if the city did have a contract with you guys, then the county had another contract. We're still double dipping on the people in Attica with taxes, because they're paying county tax and they're paying city tax.
If
So-
you go by the population,
Yeah, but the county, even if you reduce the county's bill by the population of Attica, the people of Attica would still be paying a portion of that, whatever it is. Even if you only charge them $10,000 a year, people in Attica would still be paying that because they're not going to reduce our taxes proportionally. You see what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying, and I don't know why it was set up that way. We inherited that
I know,
from your
I know.
predecessors.
We're just trying to figure out a way
Yeah,
to.
and I am totally fine with changing it because I see what you're saying. It's just, that's how initially everybody wanted it done, so I said, okay, that's what we'll do. But that was your predecessors that set that
I
up.
get it. I get it.
John, what would be the multiplier? in that case to make it fair?
I have no idea.
Okay.
No clue.
But
Yeah, the
that's-
ultimate thing would be if the county just had a contract blanketing everyone, and then they could bill appropriately to
Yes.
each area.
Mhm.
You'd send them a bill, and they'd say, this goes to Attica, this goes to
Yeah.
Covington, this goes to Petersburg. That would be the easiest way to do it, if the county would take it on.
That's the problem,
Huh?
if the county.
Right, right.
Right, yeah, yeah.
I guess-
Nice to see you, Jeff.
Can I ask a question? And maybe this is for another time. I'm just asking, because I know it has been brought up. What's the option if you don't do either one of these?
Then we won't be providing any services then.
Yeah, we really don't have another option right now. So,
Right, I
mean,
know, and I'm not, I didn't mean that negatively. I just, it's just a,
No, and that's
just
a
a
good question.
question.
Because, yeah, we would not be able to
We
provide
can,
services.
just, and then
And that
let's
makes-
move
and
it-
that-
let's
I'm
table it
not
to
asking you to do it
Tuesday, or next Monday.
Or a month.
Next Monday.
Yeah,
A month.
next month,
I don't
yeah.
care.
So if we
Well,
don't
we're gonna
have
have
any
time next
place,
Monday. I don't think it'll take long, is it?
We're not gonna have any more time next month than we've got this.
So
What about
right now,
Monday
the
we have
county don't
time,
have a
Bill?
contract,
That's right.
so anybody out in the county can't bring an animal to you?
Okay, you want me to make a motion, or?
Although
All right.
we have, only because I can't have animals out suffering. I mean, we shouldn't, because this is costing us money. And if we're not gonna get, reimbursed for it, then no, we shouldn't take anything in.
So-
But there have been some cases where I know we've had some suffering and I'm like, bring it anyway, we'll figure it out, we'll take care of it. But yes, technically, no, we do not have a contract with the county, and right now, no, we are not taking any of their animals.
So Tracy, I think we're just gonna try to do something right now to get the log jam moving here.
Okay,
So I'm gonna make a motion that you have given us a February invoice, and we've been sitting on it. And I'm gonna make a motion that we pay that, but with the intention that if we do sign a contract with a retainer, that we are given a rebate on that number towards the retainer.
yeah, you can
Okay.
just put it towards the next
Okay,
quarter.
so I'm making a motion that we
Sure.
approve that invoice.
Have a
February.
motion, do we have a second, pay for February? It's, we've got the invoice here, it's $2,900, $29166.
So I make a motion?
I did.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I don't know.
I mean, I guess at this point in time, we have to have a place
I know.
at least for
I said I.
dogs to go, so
Okay, so it's unanimous.
unanimous.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and I'll sign off on this, and it'll be a couple of weeks probably, because it's got to go in front of the Board of Works
Which is
Alright.
next Tuesday.
So-
next Tuesday, so probably next Wednesday.
We'll appreciate that, yes, thank you.
So I'd like to make a motion that we move the entire discussion to the next special council meeting, to continue to talk about it there. Is that okay?
That'd be a week from tonight.
Okay. So I make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
You get to come back.
Yay.
I can
I
tell
don't
you.
enjoy this anymore.
You know, I'm such an animal lover, I hate this whole thing too. I mean,
Oh, I know.
it's
I think
hard.
everybody does.
It is, and it just costs what it costs,
Yeah.
It's expensive.
I have a question. Have you looked into any grants, or do you have any sponsorship packages? Do you get outside funding through other sources
We
like
do.
that?
We do, and that makes up the difference. And we put that towards what we call a sick animal fund.
Okay.
So if we have like a dog that's been hit by a car,
Right.
and it's a super sweet dog, but it needs its leg amputated, we take that money and we amputate the dog's leg and we put it for adoption. So yes.
I know
yes,
there's
we
a
do.
lot of resources.
Yeah, so those types of things is easier to get grant money for those. You can't get grant money though for like brick and mortar stuff, like you can't get grant money to pay your electric bill. You can't get grant money to pay your insurance. And it's those things.
I just
that-
wonder if you could do like a
That's
sponsorship
what-
package where you have people in the community that are passionate about taking care of animals, where people would donate something.
I think that would be a good,
But I'll talk to you about that.
okay.
Sorry.
And Tracy, I apologize for my choice of words on extortion. That probably wasn't a good way to put that, but it seemed like a,
And I didn't
Probably-
mean it to be that way either. Because to be honest with you, I didn't realize it hadn't been done. Because of our issues with our internal treasurer problem. She's just been sick and hasn't kept up on things, so,
yeah, I mean, when we pay the bill every month, we think we're paid.
I understand.
And, you know, for somebody to come up and say, oh, and by the way,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's not good, so. All right, thank you, and I'm sorry, Johnny, I used that
Apology accepted.
type of word.
Apology accepted. I'm
It's more of a
okay.
quid pro quo, I guess.
I'm sure we're gonna have more
in
battles, Larry. So
All right, let's move on. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome.
Old pool area, Ravine Park, Attica Rec Inc. I asked our attorneys to draft a agreement between the city of Attica and Attica Rec Inc., who is the not-for-profit that was formed to try and get grant money and revive the swimming pool area in Ravine Park. Just one copy.
Yeah, what that says is the law allows there to be up to a 30-year reverter back to the city if certain conditions aren't achieved. And so I think it says if they don't build a pool or if they transfer it to anyone else for 30 years, it reverts back to the city. And so if both sides sign that, on the face of the deed, it'll have that reverter language, so it's actually recorded, and anybody who's contemplating like purchasing that property or something like that would see that it's subject to that reverter and it would come back to the city.
is that something we can sign next week also?
I think we probably can.
It's got a lot of pages to it. And I'd like to be able to.
Have you haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it. I'm pretty spent.
Can we
Denise has
get
a question.
Yeah, I'll send it around.
Denise, you have a question or comment?
First of all, can we get a copy of that for Attica Wrecking?
I didn't know who she distributed to. so
We
my
have,
bad.
the state inspector coming in on the 19th, and we have a commercial appraisal that we're gonna be doing. We're currently working on our strategic plan and working on grants. In order for us to get grants, we have to get this done because we have to have the property or they won't even consider it. So we're working really hard to get it. We've got a few grants in the works. The inspector that's coming on the 19th is to look at the pool building to see if there's any structural issues with it, because we saw a few things we were concerned about. So in order for us to keep moving, we've got to get this pool thing done. So the sooner we can do it, the better.
Denise, are these grants that you guys can write, or are you gonna need to have a grant writer?
We actually have 4 people working on it, and I'm actually taking lessons to write grants so that I can do that going forward.
Okay.
And not have to worry about it. Because I know that we talked to Christy Carroll and she's too busy, so she can't do that, and there's not really any other grant writers. Anita.
There's one sitting right
I'm too
behind.
busy.
I was gonna say, there's one right back there.
Sharon Hutchison also does too, I don't know.
Okay, but the ones that we have spoke to, they're just overwhelmed because there's not enough grant writers in this area. So, but yeah, we're working on, we're in the works now.
Is it more of with the grants, is it kind of like is it feasibility studies first, and they're gonna
We have to
provide you?
have- We have to have a few, okay, we're also looking at working with the YMCA. They are requiring a feasibility study before we can do anything else. We are on their strategic plan for this year because they are very, very interested in coming into Attica, but we have to walk the tightrope and we have to get that feasibility done first.
But the feasibility is for the pool, right?
No, the feasibility study is for the entire city, but it is for us to work towards the pool, yes.
Oh, okay.
There's a couple of different areas that we're looking at. We're looking at both the pool and a community center, both, is what we're looking down the line to do. But our first, all the classes that we're offering, like tonight out the school, there is a line dance class going on right now.
Yeah.
All the classes that we offer is all going into our pot to go towards everything we need to do for the pool.
Do you have any specific grants identified though for the pool? I mean, specific grants?
Yes.
And
we
do they have big dollars associated with them?
Very big.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, if the Y does come, if they like our feasibility study and they do come, which it looks very hopeful, they said that they could
raise all the money we need for the pool in less than 2 years.
Oh, really?
So I'm like,
That'd be
okay,
great.
let's get them here.
That would be awesome.
It would be
I like it
wonderful.
too.
And we've got some pretty big plans with it too.
Okay.
So,
Okay, well, I'll get this distributed out
Okay.
to everybody this
So-
week yet, so you got a little
So
time
we'll do
to
it
look for
next Tuesday or next Monday?
next Monday.
Okay.
That's okay with
Yeah,
everybody.
it's fine with me.
Thank you.
Moving on to new business, got down here, Mr. Smith, to talk about riverfront grant proposals.
So, they got submitted on time, and I put a phone call in to Doug Nussbaum, and I haven't heard back. And he told me it was probably going to be the end of February. I was hoping he might have something a little bit earlier than that, but nothing more to report than that. So it's
Doug's
just,
with the DNR, is that
yeah,
right?
DNR, yeah, Indiana DNR, the LAR program, LARE program. So I don't really have anything else to.
Okay.
Can you give us a little bit more details on that, like what type of grant it is? Is it a reimbursement grant? Is it an upfront grant?
It's a matching. It's a matching.
And
grant.
what's the city's match and where's the money coming from?
I didn't bring the documents with me because I didn't have much to talk about. So, but I'll bring them to you, or I can actually get those to you.
Okay, so you don't know what the city match is?
It's roughly 10%, I think. But it's kind of interesting because you can hold a public hearing and it reduces the amount of money that you have to pay. There's a few different bells and whistles with it. That's the reason why I need to, kind of, give it to you.
Well, and the reason I ask is because obviously that's park front. And so you've been working with the park board then because the money for the match would come out of the park funding. And they're on board with using their money for the matching piece of the grant. I mean, that's been a
Well,
conversation that
I
you had prior to
I-
submitting it.
I talked to we were going to the park board meetings, and then they had kind of a change because I was trying to actually go after some other grants as well, and they
Mhm.
decided they didn't want to pursue them. So at that particular point in time, I think when I was talking to the mayor, that we would just go ahead, or I would go ahead and pursue it, just see if we could get it. And where the money came from wasn't really talked about, so.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Well, we-
may I ask a question? What's the grant that's going for Webachi Park? What is that money going for? What's the?
Their
plan?
feasibility studies. Their feasibility studies, about 65 grand worth of studies.
Okay, so why is there a feasibility study for just the river? Is it gonna be the entire city or is it?
No, it's just, it's for riverfront, and one of them is for the riverfront, so it's a shoreline stabilization. So there's a feasibility study for that, and then there's also a sediment analysis that's gonna take place in the river bottom to determine what the sediments are and what's there, and if it can be dredged safely, and how to dredge it. So that's what it's about. So one's in the river and the other one's on the riverfront.
When was this ever brought up in any meeting?
It's been brought up at a couple different meetings.
Yeah.
But it's never been brought before the park board. They're the ones
I
in charge of that
don't know
area.
about that.
I don't know, you weren't there at a couple of park board meetings I was at.
If I'm not at a meeting, I watch them online. I've been to every meeting in over 4.5 years.
Okay, then you were.
Not
Well,
You don't know.
We can, but you'll have that next month, John.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Not much to talk about.
So we can table it until next
Yeah,
month.
right.
I'm gonna skip over one thing here, and I know we've got some folks who've been here for a very long time to talk about zoning board stuff, so I want to try to get that out of the way before we move on. We had a couple of zoning board recommendations that were given tonight at an earlier meeting, and I'd like to get Mr. Bars to explain those so we can look at those.
Yes, sir. So I'm going to pass around an ordinance for Sustainable and Resilient Engineering LLC that owns 112 West Bond Street. And they had, when Guillermo, is it Claret? Purchased that property a couple of years ago. It was 3 units, but it's in an R2 zone, and we're trying to fix the issue of some R2 properties having 3 or more units, so that only 2-unit dwellings will be in R2 zones, and anything that's 3 or more is in an R3 zone. So he is asking to flip his zoning from R2 to R3 for that purpose. We asked him to do that because it's gone from 2 to 3 units.
And that's the email that you sent to us,
Yeah,
right?
and then we're going to change the zoning code to clarify two-family, R2 is only for two-family, period, no exceptions, and everything greater than 2 has to be in an R3 zone. And the planning commission heard that and agreed that it should, recommended that it be changed. And that's for your records.
This property for information is just almost right across from the main gate, Harrison Steel,
Yeah, right there on that corner.
on the corner.
That was email 1 of 3 that Judge sent to us last week. And it has been operating like that for a couple of years, I believe. From this, this said. Yeah.
And Mr. Clawbridge is here if you have any questions.
And APC gave it a favorable recommendation as well.
Yes.
Anybody think of any reason why we shouldn't just move forward with it right out the gate?
Is the, Kaylee, did you check the parcel numbers and stuff, or did you guys?
I did that.
Oh, you did?
That's
Okay,
all
so,
me.
all right. So you're being that resource guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's my drafting.
Okay.
I think the only question we had asked about, the APC asked about was the amount of people in each apartment. And he had answered the question about the 2 adults in each apartment, and he said they typically are working at Harrison Steel. So roommates sometimes.
Yeah.
So that was the
The
only
thing you
question.
have to remember in anything like that, and I'm not trying to speak against this at all, but he tells you there's only 2 people in the apartment, he sells it, and there's 5 people in there. Next time, there's nothing we can do about it. It's zoned. This isn't a conditional zoning. This is a rezoning. And the BZA could say, yeah, we'll rezone it, and you can have, as long as you only have X amount of people in the apartment. But once we rezone it to R3, it's R3. So
But I mean,
just,
we're the ones that requested this.
I don't really feel bad about where it's located.
and I'm not
since
speaking
it's-
against it at all, but
Okay.
just so everybody
Okay.
knows.
Yes, Johnny.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that we approve this.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have 5 yeses and no nays.
To my knowledge, Johnny, this is the one, and it cleans up a problem that will be fixed with a text change to the zoning code so that this doesn't happen again.
Did you sign that, John?
Yeah, I did.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Evolution Homes, ready for that?
Yes.
So do you remember, probably like 2-ish years ago, we had 3 surplus lots on the north end of Perry Street, and 2 long ones and 1 short one? And we surplus property those and sold them to Evolution Homes and Travis Lawson. And he wants to develop those, but in order to make his idea fit, the orientation of those needs to flip from the 3 lots that each would have had a Perry Street address to turn them so that on the lot that will be adjacent to Perry Street, it'll have a triplex on it. And he's asking that be rezoned R3, consistent with what I just said. It'll have 3 families in it. And then the back 2 lots would each have a duplex on it, and he's asking that those be rezoned to R2, so each duplex can have 2 families in it. And so it's duplex in the truest sense, and meaning by definition, a duplex is one stacked on top of another. A double dwelling is one next to each other. This is one on top of the other, I think because of the slope of the hill.
He's not here.
Not mistaken, I think it slopes down to the river. But he's turned the property, and if you flip to the last page of the ordinance.
It's on Third Street.
Here you are, Joanne. One for you. And then Here we go.
Kaylee, can you point on your map there to it?
Yes, sorry.
The last page
This is
has a
Perry
map on it.
Street,
Oh,
so
it's those
this,
three,
it's
okay.
these ones.
The last
is that
ones as you're
Third
leaving
Street?
town.
Is that Third Street?
Third is the one in behind.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, so Dave Oaks lives, okay, I know where you're talking, okay.
There's a map on the last page of that too.
Yeah, well, that'd be good to see that out
So,
there.
so this one is
The
kind of,
last parcel in
population,
town. Yeah.
kind of a rezoning plus. We need to replat because we're changing the orientation of those 3 lots. It's not changing the side, the area covered by the 3 lots. It's still legally described the same way. But instead of being perpendicular to North Perry, now there's going to be 1 lot that's adjacent to North Perry and 2 behind it. So replat, so we orient what the lots are, and then rezone the back 2 to R2 for duplexes, and the front one on Perry Street to R3 for a triplex. Is what that ordinance says. But that, it's kind of a long legal description, so.
Okay. Would he agree to put a welcome to Attica sign out there too?
You know, he may be your welcome sign. So he's just applied for a variance to build a new house on another lot that I gotta get set up. I just got that tonight. And he just completed a house that I think he sold that was
Yep. Down by you, I think.
Was that the one that had that little thing going across to the
Brand new
garage?
house.
Beautiful, beautiful place.
Your old lot.
Oh, yeah, that's when we tore the house down, Rita Lannon's. Rita Lannon's
So I
house.
mean, he's doing exactly what you'd like to see, at least.
Oh, yeah.
Putting up houses on these lots.
I'll make a motion to pass.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to approve.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Is that unanimous?
Yep. I'm looking for where to sign it.
3 weeks.
I'll sign this
Oh,
one
he's
here.
got to sign it and then hang it.
What is it, 209? B?
B, yes.
B.
I'm sorry, yes. And then it's gonna ask for yays and nays, I believe. Right above the signatures.
So it's unanimous, it's 5-0.
Hey, while we're working on this, hey, Jed, remember we were talking a little bit before, you were talking about variances and the costs for variances.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if that's something we can do real quick, but I wanted to bring it to the council's attention that we're just spewing money out because we are not covering, we're not asking people to cover the cost of variances, and it's a fairly sizable amount of money. And I was wondering if the council would entertain creating an ordinance that would.
Go, I interrupted you, John.
No, go ahead. I need your help
So-
here.
So there are like 5 tweaks to the zoning code that fixing the R2 language, fees for variances and zone map changes, occupancy permits, which we were just starting to talk about again because there was an ordinance passed in 2022 about that needs to be tweaked. And a couple of other changes to the zone code that I'd like to do all at the same time and all at the next meeting. And I'll send you a packet of what the current language is and some suggested tweak. What I told John was it probably is about $900 of fees from me for each variance, just so you know. And I'm not saying it needs to be $900. I'm just saying I represent, you're the only ones that don't charge a fee that I represent for any planning or zoning
Oh, you
jurisdiction.
need definitely charge.
Yeah, it seems
So
like
it needs to be at least $900.
And like most of places that I represent charge like 200 or 250, or one of them charges 500, and don't be bound by that. These are time intensive and you're not gonna make money if you charge that, I'm telling you, but I'm trying to train some people in my office to do these instead of me. Because it can be done a lot more cheaply, I'm sure, but I'm positive it's gonna take all of, 3 or 4 hours to do one of these because of 2 meetings on a rezoning, that's plan commission and your meeting, an ordinance, the notice in the paper, the letter to the adjacent property. There's a process to it. And I think you could train anybody to do it if you spend enough time doing it. I think I've got a couple of people that I would trust to do that. So I think the fee will be going down a little bit, but that's just on the front end. That's on like an hour on the front end. That's all. Everything else is gonna stay the
We
same.
need to
So
recoup some of
So,
those
so,
costs.
so then you're just gonna give us an will you
I'm
write
gonna
the
give you
ordinance or?
a suggestion
Okay,
of what, and then it may have a blank in it for like the fees. That'll be up to you guys. But
Okay.
then, but you'll see the format of how, so a zone code change can initiate in the plan commission. They can take something up. They say, hey, we want to do a solar ordinance. They can do that. And then they give you their recommendation and it comes through an advisory plan commission. It comes to you to pass as an ordinance and you decide if you want it or don't want it. And if you don't want it or you want to change it, you change it and send it back to them for their approval or their recommendation or no recommendation or opposing recommendation. And then it comes back to you and you pass it again. But the point is it always goes through them, then it comes to you. Or you can initiate the proposal and send it to the plan commission to do. They consider it, and if they don't change it in any way, it comes back to you, you pass it and you're done. And then we advertise it. That's the process.
so we'll be looking forward to that real soon then?
Soon,
Okay,
yes.
yeah,
On that same vein, it came up in conversation the other day in the clerk's office, and I didn't have a good answer. But we currently do not charge a fee for a building permit for a fence. And every other building permit we charge a fee for. I don't know how we ever got to a point where we decided that we weren't going to charge for fences. But it doesn't make much sense to take up Eric's time to go out and measure and look at everything, because he has to do almost as much work when somebody's wanting to put in a fence as they do a small building of some kind. So I kind of like to include the permit fees for fences as well.
in that
In that
particular
same
effort?
thing, yeah,
Okay,
if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah, that's fine with me. What kind of fee are you gonna charge, Eric?
Whatever the minimum building permit fee currently is for everything else.
Okay.
I would, that's what I would suggest anyway.
Oh, this is Kyle's.
And how many times do you have people not get building permits and build fences and things like that?
Well, and so like in Benton County, when you apply for a building permit, that's the trigger to the assessor to know to reassess so that they are paying their fair share of property taxes and it's not flying under the radar. There's nothing worse than having them build and then come to you for permission to build. You know, when the horse is out of the barn, you know, it's like, no, you can't have it. And now what do you do?
Right.
Eric goes and tears it down.
Yeah,
In Benton County, they
we've
did.
had that before, when we've had to
Benton County
move them.
took down an FBI building.
Wow.
We had a lady put one up that wasn't kosher, made her cut it down. We didn't make her take it out, but we made her drop the height several years ago. I remember that one.
Yeah,
Can
I do.
How we're assessing fees
Yeah.
for building permits and compare
Okay.
that with what other municipalities are doing, because that may need revised too.
So, on Attica vacation.
No,
You want to ask a question?
Well, I was gonna ask Kyle a question, but
Shoot.
okay. Hey Kyle, what is the life expectancy of these houses? Like, how long do you expect them to be around?
They're built like a normal house, so
Okay.
just longevity of a normal house.
Okay.
So what this odd duck is, because you've never seen one of these before, but it's in your zoning code. It's a residential development area or residential development plan is a real short section of the zoning code. And it's where you have an area that's going to be used for residential use only. And it doesn't lend itself to cutting it into individual lots for the parcels themselves. So the developer wants permission, wants to know what their parameters are. And this section says, within this area, you can do X. And so there are two areas on either side of Perry, the old trailer park. And he is proposing 18 units on each side. And the map on the back shows where the existing streets are, and he's going to continue the existing streets, and he may add an access or something. I don't know. It just depends on what's there now. But according to this section, as long as that area is harmonious with what's next door to it, like you wouldn't want to do a residential development zone or plan next to an industrial use, because that's not a good fit under your zoning code. If it's compatible, and if you don't make it too dense, and by that I mean he's required to maintain the same level of space for not only for structures, but for families within the structures, the ground floor space that's minimum required, then he can ask the plan commission and the council for approval of his plan, and then that's what he's held to. So his is proposing up to 18 residential structures or tiny homes, not on individual lots, but in approximately the same locations as the trailers that previously occupied the spot. A mixture of units, some with garages on foundations, and this is on the lot that is on the east side of Perry. And then use existing roads. There will be approximately 20 to 30 feet between units. The units may be short-term rentals, long-term rentals, and employee rented housing. Some of the modular units may be sold, so there may be private ownership. And they may have duplexes. Some duplexes will be, I think how we put it to the plan commission, there would be 18 roofs. Some of those may be duplexes.
If they're sold, if those units are sold to an individual owner, then how does that work?
They just own the unit, not the real estate. And it'd be like a Florida typical trailer park. In Florida, you just own the building on top of it. You don't own the ground. You continue to own the ground.
Have our own villages.
That's right.
That's right.
That's not an uncommon thing. That's very similar to a trailer park.
Is there our emails?
Where you don't acquire any real estate.
I have school tomorrow.
Thank you, girls. Appreciate that.
And so those buildings would get assessed their own tax,
Yeah.
If you want.
and the land would get assessed its tax, and they're independent of each other.
Gotcha.
There was one difference between the two, east side and west side. You remember what the difference was between the east side and the west side?
As far as,
There's one difference on this list of what you're asking for permission.
the one side had garages,
Okay,
potential garages.
that's the east side.
Yep.
Had possibility for garages. And so one of the questions that Cindy asked in the plan commission meeting was, how dense can you make that? Because he's still required to have whatever the minimum concentration, floor space
Lot
is.
coverage.
Yeah, and, well, so lot coverage and floor space, ground floor space.
Okay.
So, per family. And I don't know, you're not for that calculation, you don't use the road real estate as part of that calculation, but you use everything else. And on both of those parcels, I was trying to figure this out for Cindy, on both of those parcels, the road is less than half of the whole parcel. It's probably a quarter or something like that, but just say it's a half. If you don't take out the road, you're allowed 36.88 units on each side of the road. So if the road was half, you'd be allowed 18 units. I think the trailer park was using that formula when they figured out 18 spots.
Yeah.
And so, and what the city gets out of this is an understanding of how those properties are going to be used, number one, and it would also limit its growth. So if he either added size or tried to increase the concentration, he'd have to come and ask for permission for a revised residential development plan. It's not like he could just do whatever he wants out there now. It would have to be it's roughly oriented the same way as the trailer parks, is what it appeared to me. And
Each one of the units carries an address, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that's how it was before.
Okay.
yeah, like a trailer park.
Okay.
So this is the first one of these I've ever done. and this is the only zoning code that I've seen this in, it makes sense that a city would have this in it. I represent mostly towns otherwise, and counties, more rural settings. It's, because you're not going to carve out lots, it's not a subdivision. And so if it was a subdivision, you treat it like one with lots, and you would say, okay, I'm buying the real estate and the building upon it when I buy this, lot number 10. This isn't that. And so this is what you get when you have a residential use that doesn't have lots. This is the animal that you would be dealing with.
The APC gave this a favorable recommendation, and we're happy with the plan.
I've got a couple of questions, and maybe I probably should have asked them during the APC meeting, but I assume that you're gonna pay one water bill, one sewer bill out there, and you're gonna take care of that. Because I don't think we're set up to bill each individual lot that you're putting in
Well, so
separately.
Eric and I have
currently.
still been talking about that. That's something that we haven't decided yet, because we have to put all new utilities in anyway.
Okay, so
So-
you may separate them out
Yeah,
and let them pay their own water bill.
Yep, not plus or minus for you guys.
If each got their own address, that would be easy to do.
Well, but what about a tap fee for each one of those?
Yeah, well, that's something that Eric will have
Yeah.
to sort.
'Cause that could get
through.
pretty expensive
Yeah,
quick.
that could get expensive, but
But we're also not asking anything from you guys, so we're putting in all the utilities.
so you just take it from the city main and
Yeah,
you
either
put it
way,
all in.
we'll take it from the
We'd
city
set
main.
the meters and.
Yeah.
And there's already a tap there, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I think they just paid one bill.
I don't know that you can speak up, but he's not gonna tap your main 18 times. I think he's gonna go off of whatever tapped in.
One tap, yeah.
So I don't even know that we're talking about tapping. He's talking about within his community itself, within each side, however you
But
want to say
if we got to supply 18 meters,
Yeah.
then we're gonna have 18 bills. And
Right, and that's a whole separate thing than a tap fee. I mean,
absolutely. And
because
that's
the
what
tap
said
fee's
Eric will have to work that out
underground,
depending
tapping
on
and
what we end
connecting
up
and-
with.
Well, I know I had to pay a $1,500 tap fee, so that's the reason why I was asking that question.
And then the same thing with trash pickup. Typically that's a commercial deal, so you would have to contract with the trash people separately if each person's not paying their own water bill. Because that's set up for residential customers only.
Yep.
And then the other thing I mentioned during the meeting, and I don't think it's in here, are we gonna change the zoning to R3 for
That's
the entire
gonna be a
parcel?
separate application, so that
Okay,
he's R3 now on the east side, and on the east side, it's suburban. On the west side, he had that changed to R3 because it was like industrial or something like that. A residential development area only requires that it be some form of residential zoning. So it currently can be suburban and R3, but he's gonna change it to R3.
I just suggested to clean it up and make it uniform across the board. That it doesn't affect Kyle really any as far as taxes or anything like that goes, but it would be nice if both sets of parcels were zoned the same going forward. And that way it clears up any confusion later on.
So that'll probably be the March APC meeting. You'll be seeing this again, but to rezone we've already rezoned the west side. This will be the rezone what is currently suburban, which is a form of residential.
Kind of semantics, but
Larry, do we have any, in the city limits, do you have any fees for Airbnb that we charge?
not currently. The only thing we have is rental inspection fees.
Okay.
The east side and the west side, what about the ones that are on up farther east? Is that something we can put in that zone 2 as well to make that all be R3 or not?
It's got to be under the applicant's
Oh, okay.
ownership
Okay.
for this.
That's
So,
a good question.
Further up Perry.
Yeah, no,
Or-
up
But
going east
behind
of,
the school.
yeah,
in
up
that
toward the
area,
school. Those other
because that's
trailers
owned
that
by
are
a
in there.
different owner.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right. What's that guy?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to make it all the same zone. I didn't know if there's somebody thought about that as
No,
well.
so that guys will remain suburban
Okay.
until he petitions to do something
Okay.
with it. How many are out there of the other guys?
There's like Well, it's the same thing, houses compared to lots, there's
Yeah.
like 60 some lots, but I think there's like 30 some trailers.
Okay. So do we have a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second. We'll go ahead.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Sign up.
Building some houses.
Just this one.
They only say one, have that one, just as board houses.
Jimmy can sign a second one.
Well, that's true on all three of these. We'll do it after. They want to carry on.
Andrew would have had it right on the first.
So is that all the zoning board actions?
Yes.
Okay, the other thing I had on the agenda for new business, and I sent out a copy of the letter that I had sent to all the employees last August regarding our insurance. And I had a couple of employees come to me just a couple of weeks ago here, and apparently they didn't read or didn't understand, but we only had 2 employees that were on the the cheapest high deductible plan. I don't have that in front of me here, but I sent it to everybody. So you should have had an opportunity to look at it. In order to offer the PPO plan that everybody wanted at the end of last year, and we weren't able to give them, given that there was only 2 people on that plan, we did away with that plan, offered the PPO plan in hopes that people would use that because that was more in line with what our old Anthem plan was. So we did that, and the 2 people that were on that came to me and said, hey, you did away with my plan, and will you pay me the difference between the plan I was on and the plan I'm on now? And honestly, I told them I don't think that's fair to the other people that were already on that plan and are on that plan. But I told them I would ask the council, and that was why I sent you all the information on that. So if you guys have an opinion on that, I'm all ears.
I think that's just opening up a can of worms.
People, the insurance changes a lot. Like sometimes the plans go up, they go down, whatever that might be. The options change, and where I do sympathize with that, that those are what's offered. And so I hate to say that, but I don't really think that I can give that personally. I don't feel like good about doing that for just 2 employees. When did the other employees choose that same option?
Yeah.
So I don't feel good about that based on the fact that I don't feel like it would be.
You'd have 2 employees getting the same plan that the other employees are getting.
You're getting a subsidy.
And getting subsidized for it. And I didn't feel good about that, but I didn't feel good about just telling them flat, no, we can't do that, sorry. But I wanted it to be a council decision. I want to make everybody aware for full transparency.
Can they, is there still a possibility they could switch over and get into the other plan with the other guys?
No, they are in the plan.
They are in
with
the
other
plan with the other guys.
The plan they were in went away in order to offer the PPO plan. And as it turned out, as many people complained about not having a PPO plan last year, and I even went to AIM and asked them, hey, is it possible to offer a PPO plan? And they said, no, sorry, next year. Well, this year, guess what? We offered the PPO plan, and you know how many people took it?
No.
Yeah.
So you can't get ahead of it. The only thing that I've told everybody, and I know it probably sounds like a broken record, but we offer the We Care in Attica, which many places don't have that, and many people would give anything to have that. And so it kind of makes the high deductible plan that's eligible for what's the word, for a HSA, thank you. For an HSA, it makes it almost a secondary insurance. It's for when something really, really bad happens.
Yeah.
But your average everyday, I've got a sniffle, I'm going to the doctor's taken care of up at the We Care, no charge.
I hate it.
That's huge. That's huge.
Well, there is a charge. The boys are charged isn't it like $8 a week or something like that?
Well, I'm
I thought.
talking
But there's
about
no
if
point of
you-
service fee. There's no point of service
If you
cost.
go up there,
Okay.
it's, they even have medications that they dispense.
Right.
And, that's huge. And I think people take that for granted that, oh, everybody gets that. Well, no, everybody doesn't get that. Harrison Steel gets it, the school gets it, and we get it. But, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but where I worked for 40 years, we never got it. And we never got a choice on what insurance we were going to take or how much it was going to cost. It's here it is, take it or leave it. So I feel like I don't know, sometimes if you give people too many choices, you paint yourself in a corner by doing that. Sometimes, for years, we had one policy that we were kind of at the mercy of Anthem, and they were on the average 15% raise every year that they were raising it up. And we just passed that along to everybody else. And so you try to do the right thing and curb those costs and give people options. And
What do you guys think?
It's hard.
It is an ugly thing, but.
so is that a motion to just pass on this? And
Unfortunately, yeah, I believe it is.
Okay, so Nathan, you made a motion?
Unfortunately, I believe it is.
Okay.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second. All in favor to move forward as we are.
I feel I should abstain just since my wife's an
Thank you.
employee at the city.
Guys?
Aye.
Okay.
All ayes except for one abstention. That was Dwayne. Yeah, I feel bad about it,
I do
but
too. I hate it.
you gotta be fair to everybody and you gotta make decisions based on the group rather than, a couple of people. Roundtable. Dwayne?
No, I appreciate the guys and what they're doing on the streets and everything. Thank you. Thanks, Chief Miller. Thanks, Chief Little. Appreciate all you guys do. Too many chiefs. Not enough Indians.
I knew that was coming. Johnny?
I just have one question for Cindy. Cindy, I received a message that somebody was asking if Main Street plans on replacing the person that resigned. And I didn't know, but I said that I would, at the council meeting, I figured you would be here, so I wanted to ask because there was an inquiry about that, if Main Street was going to have that employee return. And when I asked the question, I guess that was just a 2025 funding, but I didn't know if there was money allocated this year or not. But somebody asked the question, and so I just thought I'd ask the question.
Well, when we had our last meeting, it was decided that we would have Lexi work special events. Since she already has the contact, she knows the routine, she knows how to set it up. And so we would pay her for individual events. And that's the plan.
Okay.
So Main Street will be paying her, though you're not
Yes.
asking for any funds from the city.
So did I hear you, that I will be coming back later for funding?
I didn't hear that.
That's not in the notes, Cindy.
My wife will tell you about that selective hearing.
That's all I have.
Jimmy?
I'd just say I'd like to thank Mrs. Carlson, Mr. Fisher for the county for coming up here tonight, spending time with us to see how things go. I appreciate you folks coming up.
Thank you. Mr. Moss?
Congratulations to Chief Little and all the firefighters for their new facility. I can't wait to, I'd like to come see it sometime. Let you guys get all moved in and situated. But I think that's great.
Clean it
Congratulations.
first.
You want to get painted?
I'm
No,
waiting
it's
for
all
the
painted.
open
I just
house
need it
when there's
clean.
free food.
Do what?
Said I'm waiting for the open house when there's free food.
That's a great idea.
There you go. Yeah. That's all I have.
Mrs. Carnahan,
We were gonna bring this up. Cindy, during our APC meeting, had talked about, or had talked with some people from HWC about our zoning, which we've talked about before is just kind of a mess. That's nobody's fault. It's just for the past couple of years, it's
maps haven't been updated for a
Correct.
long time.
So HWC now has a program or a section that they would basically help us, I want to say revamp it, make it where we could figure out exactly what it looks like, update it all. So I am very much on board with this, with the APC. I think we're talking about it through a lot of different commissions or committees because all of us would use it. The city council will definitely use it. We just don't know the cost of it right now. So we have a meeting with them. Cindy's calling them tomorrow. We have a meeting set up with them to discuss all of these things. But I would like for the city council maybe to keep that in mind that this is something that's really needed. And yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say that I think if we want to continue to develop and grow and be better, we have to have our zoning maps. I mean, anybody coming in here and looking at our community, a lot of people, as I think Judd was mentioning, or I don't know who else, if you're looking about developing, you really want to call and say, hey, can you tell me what the zoning is over here on this property or whatever? We want to have that all up to date and that's available. They could put this layer on our existing area. We get all of our zoning codes up to date and that's going to benefit WEGA. It will benefit further development in Attica, which enhance the development in Fountain County. It's just a win-win situation. And the guy that I talked to today, he is with HWC. He's out of Indianapolis. This is his specialty.
Mm-hmm.
And they've gone into other communities. They've gone into Florida, they've gone into Tipton, they've gone into Edinburgh. They've done the rezoning in their communities and brought them up to speed of where they should be. And so I think it's very, very exciting that we do this. Plus, we've got a meeting coming up before the end of the month. We have a time in there that we can call Tipton and we can call Florida and say, how good are they? What's the good points? Is there anything that we need to be aware of? So I think this is a win-win for our city as we're moving forward in developing both residential and commercial areas.
So would they develop an electronic, like a GIS map or?
I think Jed was talking about having the overlay that go over that.
It would go over like our beacon, because right now we don't have GIS mapping that I know of for our plats.
I don't really know what it would look like, but I'd be
Typically,
interested.
we rely on beacon.
Yeah.
I think that's
That's what
probably the cost.
The conversation
Yeah.
is going to be about.
I don't
They've
think
got a
Beacon has
template
zoning.
that they devise.
I don't think Beacon has it has a zoning layer, but I don't think.
No,
it's
I've
lit
not
up.
seen it.
You can, in some communities, you can click it and it lights up and you can point to whatever you want and see where the industrial property
That'd be
is.
nice.
Yeah, that'd be really nice if it would show up there. I know when you open up Beacon and you look at the details, sometimes it'll say R1 or whatever, and I'm like, no, that's not R1. I know for a fact that's not right.
So a lot of times on Beacon, it'll say like commercial and that's how it's being assessed. Not necessarily what its zoning is, but how it's being assessed.
Okay, that makes sense.
So
then.
it'll say residential or industrial or commercial or agricultural, and that then is how the assessor's office handles it. It's not zoning.
Okay.
Basically, we're just bringing it up because we don't know the cost of this yet. But I think some of the maps we're working off of are from like 2013. So just to keep that in mind when we meet, we're going to meet with them in the next couple weeks. And then I'm going to be honest, I don't know where the money's going to come from. I don't know how much it is. I have no idea. I'm not one to typically wanting to spend it either, but I just think this is something that, especially with the developers coming
There's
in.
nobody, the APC doesn't know, what we need to do, how we need to get ready, how we need to be competitive in today's market. And that's what we have to be looking at. We have to be competitive in today's marketing. And so we'll get a lot more information when we meet with them.
I I said it sounds like economic development.
Well,
But the other thing is, we're talking, I feel like because it would benefit so many people, I don't necessarily feel great about saying the council we need to fund the whole. I personally don't feel like that. I don't feel like the council should fund the whole
Sandy
thing.
feels like we should fund it.
Well, I think there's so many working parts and so many people that are gonna benefit from this that maybe if we could all
divide
chip
it
in
up,
together, that it might be cheaper for all of us and we're all gonna benefit from it. So that would be my hope. But again, I have no clue the cost of this and we'll maybe know in the next like couple weeks. So
There was, actually, that kind of dovetails with one thing I forgot to mention. When we were looking at the stuff for the paws and claws thing, it's interesting that there is a correlation between stray animals and poverty. And I didn't, I guess it makes sense, because of fences and all those other things. But that led me to say, okay, what are the poverty levels? And I just went to look, and I don't know that we as a council have ever talked about poverty in the city of Attica. And I don't know if it's our place to or not. But the state of Indiana has a 12.2% poverty level. The city of Attica is almost 20%. And then the folks down in Petersburg are half of that. Petersburg is about 11%. The people across the river are 15.3, and Covington's 14.5. And so I don't know, but is it something that we should try to talk about as a council and kind of weave it into some of our conversations here, because it's high enough.
I think that needs to go into.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about it, I guess, as far as like when we were discussing Section 8 housing and things like that.
Okay.
We talked about the poverty levels then. But as far as addressing it head on, I don't know if we've really had a reason to up to this point.
And do we have, I know we don't really have numbers, but how's our homeless situation? Chief, from what you see, just.
Don't.
What?
It fluctuates up and down. It's been decreased over the past 4 weeks, as we can all imagine, but with 60-degree weather, we have some that we've been able to relocate and some we can't get rid of. We offer a lot of assistance. We've taken people off yet. We've employed Ubers to get people away, and they find their way back. So it's a
Well, I was just curious.
ever-evolving
What kind of,
problem.
Ongoing.
is it usually more down the river? Is that where you find?
Yeah, I would say the river gets a lot. I'll say that some of our shelters and assisting homes in the area, as people leave, have nowhere to go, or people that come there for it, where their significant other split up has found them. It's a game, like it's a chess game.
I'm sorry to throw that at you. I was just curious.
Yes, sir. It comes in spurts.
Cindy?
I just wanted to share another positive thing is the redevelopment commission is working on furthering the development of Cable One and working on getting that up to date so we can move forward on getting some type of housing in there that we want, that's suitable for the area, suitable for the population that we want to address. And we're going to work and partner with, the plan is to work and partner with HWC on that too, where they can lay out what we need to be doing. I don't want to sit here and wait 5 years from now and say, well, we really want to do this, but we don't have, just the basic knowledge to proceed. And so we've made contact, they're willing to help.
And we approved to go to phase 1.
Yes, we approved to go to phase 1 and we're moving on. So I think that's exciting, exciting.
I'm done. I'll shut up now.
And now for the moment we've all been waiting for.
Can I go ahead and say it?
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I got 2 hands.
Johnny seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
I never do. I normally never do. Oh, don't give me your folders.